insiders, this will be over and over. To lead by an any big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies, and we must do it big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies, and any America first, America first, non-fatal. We want to build a much better, believable people, and we must do it non-fatal. Communication very much higher. America first. To lead by an any insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. More of insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. America first. Love the flow. 69. Now it's time for new, believable people, and we must do it. If we don't control insiders, this will be over and over. To lead by an any big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies, and we must do it big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies, and any America first, America first, non-fatal. We want to build a much better, believable people, and we must do it non-fatal. Communication very much higher. America first. To lead by an any insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. More of insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. America first. Love the flow. Love the flow. 69. Now it's time for new, believable people, and we must do it. If we don't control insiders, this will be over and over. To lead by an any big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies, and we must do it big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies, and any America first, America first, non-fatal. We want to build a much better, believable people, and we must do it non-fatal. Communication very much higher. America first. To lead by an any insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. insiders fighting for insiders. More of insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop insiders fighting for insiders. America first. Love the flow. 69. Now it's time for new, believable people, and we must do it. If we don't control insiders, this will be over and over. To lead by an any big, fat love, find common ground. To halt the spread of lies, and we must do it big, fat love, find common ground. To halt the spread of lies, and any America first, America first, non-fatal. We want to build a much better, believable people, and we must do it non-fatal. Communication very much higher. America first. To lead by an any insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop insiders fighting for insiders. More of insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop insiders fighting for insiders. America first. Love the flow.
You know, back when I was in the academy, we would follow every toast with a song.
The American president is doomed to little or a bet, but he's just hanging on. Dangling like Hunt a cigarette. Hunter types with the hookah pipe say, walk like a Joe Biden. And when he boards Air Force One, he spins around and he hits the floor. He's got the moves. He hits the deck, then he hits some more. All the Dems are so sick of Joe, they really would like to see him end. He his pants when he went to the Vatican. All the kids in the DNC say, slide your feet up the street, hump your back, stiffen your arms, don't pull them back. Life's hard, you know, when entering in the Cadillac. If you wanna know where it stops, it ends in dementia, and the cops, they sing and dance when finding the confidential docs. Then they arrest all his men while Putin laughs in the Kremlin. And the Chinese know he's owned by them and Ukrainians. All the cops in the DOJ say, walk like a Joe Biden. Walk like a Joe Biden.
Remember, none of this is possible without you. Join the fight and sign up for MugClub today at louderwithcrowder.com/MugClub for $89 annually. Join the fight at louderwithcrowder.com/MugClub today. Yeah, look at that. It is time for Geo. I did this so you can tell the difference from the thumbnail from GOP debate number one. It'll probably go away by tomorrow.
Thank God.
No. Welcome to the.
Please, I'll pay you $10 a week to leave that on.
It sounded like a kid at a Make-A-Wish. Like, no, please.
You remind me of a gay aunt.
Well, before the show, he said Dave Schultz, and then he has to.
No, Larry Robinson.
All right, that's fine. Glad to be with you. So it is the GOP. Bring it up there in the lower third so people can see nothing up our sleeves. It is the GOP debate stream tonight. You can use the hashtag Crowder Debate Night. You can use it on the X, used to be Twitter. You can use it anywhere that you're on social media. And you can also use it as a promo code. You get $10 off, louderwithcrowder.com/MugClub.
Yeah.
$79 annually. You get this wonderful hand-etched, girthy mug. And you get Nick DiPaolo, who's with me here every day at 5. I mean, you can still get a portion of his free show everywhere you get free podcasts, but you get extra show at MugClub. Nick, how are you, sir?
Good. I'm a girthy Italian.
Oh, come on now. He's saying that because he's lost weight and he's looking very slim, and so he's fishing for compliments.
I put on 5 since I last saw you. Seriously?
Really?
Yes.
Pure muscle.
Oh,
wow. No, actual pure sausage and peppers and pizza crust and raw dough.
Direction with the sausage comment.
Well, aside from Nikki Haley, that brings us to the debate stream tonight. It absolutely is a sausage fest. I mean, look, we're going to have Chris Christie on screen. We'll do a side-by-side. It'll make you feel good about yourself. You'll feel good about life decisions.
Boy, the fangs, they're out early.
It's ought to be a fun night.
I mean, you're gay on. I'm supposed to be sassy.
Oh, we're a couple.
Look, there's a lot to get to here tonight. First off, you guys can comment. What do you think we can expect here tonight? And I know a lot of you saying, why do we really care? People are not super enthusiastic about this debate because not a whole lot changed since the last debate. As far as money raised, as far as the polls switching, Donald Trump is still leading by well into the double digits. But look, I want you guys to focus on one thing here tonight. The media. Okay, the media, we have everyone combing MSNBC, CNN, all of social media, the meltdowns that are going to be happening. These people are proxies for Donald Trump tonight. How they choose to attack or if they choose to try and ingratiate themselves to the Trump voters, that'll be interesting. But the media is not going to give anyone a fair shake. Remember, I've always told you this. It doesn't matter if you're Trump, if you're George W. Bush, if you're Ron DeSantis, whoever has an R next to their name is going to get the Trump treatment, period. And you will see it on display tonight for everyone to see, especially because they are scared. They are scared when you look at the recent polls. Before I go to the drinking game rules, the recent Washington Post ABC poll, to give you an idea. So there's the RCP average. Donald Trump is ahead by about 1.4, I believe, 1.4 points. Mm-hmm. The recent Washington Post ABC poll, let me bring this up here because all the references are loudwithcrowder.com. What is the new, do you have it there?
Yeah, I've got it right now. So it's got Trump 52, Biden 42.
Yeah, give us the spread on that one.
That's 10 points.
Yeah, 10 points.
Not a math genius, but that's...
So WAPO ABC has Trump up by 10 points.
10.
That's the most recent poll.
Yep.
Not a bastion of conservatism. Now, here's some context. If you look at the last elections, right, with Washington Post, ABC, September 2015, with Clinton, she was up by 3. Biden, September 2019, was up by 17. So that scale matters. Trump being ahead by any points is more than down by 17.
Yeah, that's a 27-point difference.
And how did they explain it? Even Washington Post, ABC.
I was reading through it, and they're like, we basically didn't get to the right people. They were saying that this variability in the poll, this isn't the normal poll. This is probably an outlier poll. I know that we just paid a whole bunch of money to get this thing out there, but it doesn't really reflect accurately what the issues are. It literally said something like...
Washington Post, ABC, they had to apologize for doing a bad job.
Their own poll. And by doing a bad job, you mean they basically just asked people what they thought and didn't spin it.
This poll didn't work. We didn't have the right ball bearings. It's all ball bearings nowadays, kids. Hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. Okay, we're going to post the drinking game rules here in a second, which I don't even know if we have to. If we have to let people know the YouTube dump, but with the drinking game rules. Yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube and at any point you see this, that means head on over to Rumble. That's our home, and they're being attacked by international governments right now.
They are, yes.
Drinking game rules for tonight. Bring them up, Tool Man.
All right, they are. If Trump is mentioned, the word indictment is used.
Drink.
Christie has a fake tough guy moment.
That's going to be a lot.
Vivek attacks anybody.
Well,
DeSantis talks using his thumb.
Yep.
Or if finished drink, someone brings up Ronald Reagan, and they are at the Reagan Library.
Oh, wow.
So,
I'm tossed.
Really?
Awesome.
Yeah. Also, anytime there's a thug life moment, you have to finish it.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Last time I was there with Alan Covert of the Adams and what's his name? Ron Howard's brother, Clint Howard, the Ronald Reagan Library. There's a bizarre time.
Did you say Alan Combs?
Alan Covert, not Alan Combs. He's dead.
Covert.
I know, but
Why
you
would
said
you do
last
that?
time.
So is a singer of Smash Mouth, and I only found out after we did a Smash Mouth sketch this week. Like,
That's
he's
a good
dead.
one, too, and we're like, we got to run it.
Like you and I, we did a 5-minute riff on Sinead O'Connor. Like, she died, right? I was like, no, I didn't. And Nick's like, I knew.
It's like, what do you think I laid into?
That's why I did it.
I got drunk for 2 days when I saw that.
Celebratory bender.
Well, you don't drink to
Absolutely.
make a bad day good, only to make a good day better. And I think that was one of those days. If I don't ever have to hear, hi, the next time Conor McGregor walks out, I consider it a win.
Does he play her stuff?
He does, but he replaced her with Melissa Etheridge, so now it's come to my window.
Oh, my God.
There's another lesbian. I don't know. All right, we do have some montages here, some clips to show you guys, because Donald Trump skipped this debate. That's a tactical decision, and by the way, I would say is right of him to do. He did it to speak to the UAW workers, and so we've been working on this. We're going to actually come back to this later. Let me tell you this. I think this is a smart move because Donald Trump, I was shocked when we covered that election. He won Michigan. He won the Midwest. I'm just hoping that he's not pandering to the UAW, because if you pander to the UAW, you're actually screwing all of the other workers in the Midwest. So I believe that we have this montage.
Yeah.
Right, Gerald? What are you...
They have a Trump montage for you over there?
No, they have the current event montage.
Got you.
It's
So
like 2 minutes long.
let me give you quickly. They're putting together a clip montage of Donald Trump's speech, but I was listening to it and talking with the guys beforehand. He isn't bowing down to the UAW. You and I were talking about this before. He can go there and support the working class citizens, the base, the people who are the members of the UAW, without actually supporting the leadership of the UAW. He did a really good job of threading that needle.
Did he?
Basically, he had one of his quotes. He's like, "Look, it doesn't matter the deal you get. In 2 years, you're all out of a job anyway."
Right.
But he had those kind of moments again that we love from Donald Trump, where he's very honest with them. Like, go negotiate. It's not going to matter. They're pushing
China.
policies on you that all these vehicles have to be electric or up to a certain percentage in 10
Yeah.
years. He's like, do you think that's going to happen? Your jobs went to Mexico. Your jobs went to China. This administration doesn't care about you. And also your leaders don't care about you because they always support the Democrats. So he split them like we do with China and the CCP. We're like, Chinese people, good. CCP, bad. He's doing the same thing with.
Well, not all Chinese people, am I right? Small hands. They can get in crevices, folks.
Yeah, but so you know, we'll have a montage of some of the highlights for that, and then throughout the night as we go, other moments from that we want to bring up, we will bring it out.
Scooters from China. They're making a lot of electric scooters in
The little
China.
bird ones?
Can move around too fast for a scooter. It's not structurally sound. You go 45 downhill. It's going to be a bad crash, folks. But no, here's the thing. A lot of Democrats switched over because of TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, because of free trade. And that is, I will say, that has single-handedly from Donald Trump, that's what shifted the Republican Party quite a bit to becoming the party of the working class. And I will tell you this. I was never a protectionist, but I certainly saw the value in highlighting the disproportionate, the agreements that were so weighted toward China and these international agreements that we had that really did screw the American worker. Now, I'm not a pro-union guy, pro-UAW guy. If it comes down to communist American unions or communist crap from China, well, the communist crap from China is cheaper. But the agreements that we had, if you look at it was never free trade. The tariffs they were putting on our goods going over there. Donald Trump is focusing on what he won in the 2016 election.
He did. And let me give you some stats that he put out from this, right? So he had a press release to put all these stats out there. The United States added, and I think you've got an overlay potentially there that you can bring up from that on air, added 510,000 new manufacturing jobs between Trump's election and February of 2020, right? So that's the number we typically use is pre-COVID, right? So that's essentially what he's doing there. 510,000. 2018, the United States added 264,000 new manufacturing jobs, the most in 30 years. He's got a record with these people. He doesn't have to go make promises.
Right.
He can go and tell them, I will do for you now what I did for you before.
Yeah.
And nobody else can do that with them.
Well, that's the context here, right? Is 8 years of Obama.
Yeah.
3 years of Donald Trump, and then they're going to have 4 years of Biden. And they mirror, I mean, just Ukraine, for crying out loud, mirrors what Obama did. When you look at what happened in Crimea, when you look at what happened with TPP, and you look at what Biden is doing and how weak he is on China, when you look at Bidenomics, which is really just another version of shovel-ready jobs and printing money, they have no economic plan. It's robbing from Peter to pay Paul. Shovel-ready jobs, we talked about this in northern Michigan. There's what they call up north trees. It's after the Great Depression, where they said, we have shovel-ready jobs. They just paid a bunch of people, here, go dig a tree. And they didn't know how to plant a tree. And so they had a bunch of trees that couldn't grow leaves because they were planted too close to each other. That's not a real job. Where you see the difference, if you take away nothing else, it's private sector job growth versus government employees. Well, sure, you just decrease the unemployment rate. If you just added 80,000 IRS, sorry, not agents, employees. It's 87,000, not agents, sorry, employees. Bunch of pencil pushing,
gun carrying,
just gelatinous necks with Glocks. What could possibly go wrong? So if you just keep adding jobs through your tax dollars, well, you can always artificially manipulate the unemployment numbers. So that is, I think, a really strong,
It's a very strong argument, and it's also, he did a good job with that speech. I was very worried that he was going to go up and do something that made him look like he was supporting the actual union bosses, but he called them out. Yeah. And he said, it's a miracle. They always support. I wish they would support Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, they can't.
Always support the Democrat. He just says it so dramatically.
Did he bring up the argument about the wage increase? Did he get that specific? They want a 40% wage increase?
No,
they want more than that, but they want their wage increase. I think their cost would go from 60-something an hour to $150+ an hour. They want 40-hour work week pay for 30-hour work week.
Yeah, didn't we already learn? Yeah.
No.
Remember Toyota couldn't make money because they were losing money on cars years ago.
That's
under Obama, right?
Donald Trump did a great job of walking right past it and going, doesn't matter what the deal is. Doesn't matter what the deal is. Their policies kill your industry. They've been doing it for decades, and it's going to happen again if you do not vote for me.
Well, okay, so before that, let's show the clips of Biden really quickly with the UAW. This is pandering. Since I'm hearing the speech went well with Donald Trump, again, send in your predictions. Use the promo code #Crowder Debate Night. I have to look down because I never remember my own promo codes. Do we have it? Can we put it there?
Yeah, there is.
It's a
Crowder Debate Night. Is there a hashtag? Do we have a hashtag one?
Yeah, the hashtag as
all right. You can see Biden just pandering to the UAW. Again, 99% of their donations go to Democrats. So he just says, yeah, you should get more. And then we'll compare that with Donald Trump. And then we'll go into what's happened since the last debate and what we can expect tonight. But let's show the first Biden clip with the UAW.
You want me to play them back to back?
Yeah, play them back to back.
This is a historic moment. The first time in our country's history that a sitting USA president has came out and stood on the picket line fact of the matter is that you guys, the UAW, you saved the automobile industry back in 2008 and before. Made a lot of sacrifices. Gave up a lot. And the companies were in
All
trouble.
7 people there.
Now they're doing incredibly well.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, the UAW, Nick, they made a lot of sacrifices. They made a lot of sacrifices with it. Was it a $60 or $80 billion bailout?
80.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Three retirees per active worker. They made a lot of sacrifices.
did.
Raise you need and other benefits.
He was talking into the wrong end of that thing for like a half hour.
He was.
Blowing his hair back. Ah!
Must be one of those new megaphones.
My gosh. So we're going to have Donald Trump
for 12 minutes. I think he was in the state of Michigan physically for about an hour before he flew to Hollywood for a fundraiser.
It just shows how greedy and selfish Democrats are. That's the one thing. They will constantly try and make Republicans, everyone here, by the way, who's worked for a living, obviously, and then once you reach a certain level of running a company or success, all of a sudden you're not working class. Why is it greedy? Why is it selfish for people here to not want to pay someone else's salary through their taxes? And it's not considered selfish for a UAW worker who's been bailed out at the taxpayer's teat, now at least 2 times. If you look at the subsidies, really you're going into 4 or 5 times. Why is it not greedy for them to want to cost a company $150-something an hour while you and I and other people, who, by the way, can still make good livings, don't get Cadillac benefits? Why is it really they sacrificed a lot? LASIK in every Chevy Cavalier you're paying for? You have any idea the benefits that these guys get? The Cadillac, you used to say that's the Cadillac of forks. The Cadillac isn't even the Cadillac of cars anymore because of the UAW. When was the last time a Cadillac was used as anything other than a pejorative?
That is absolutely fair.
We have the Trump speech is still going on if we wanted to tune in for
Well,
a couple minutes.
we've only got about 2.5 minutes till the debate kicks off. So you want to talk about the debate?
What do you think, Nick? What do you anticipate tonight?
I anticipate, hopefully, see more Kellyanne Conway. She's had face work done. And she almost looks like a Fox anchor. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Almost. It's not very tasteful when they bring her on, though, and they play.
What do I anticipate as far as the debate goes?
Yeah.
Once again, my boy, Vivek.
Yeah.
I say my boy. Trump's my boy, but I'm just saying this
Right.
guy.
Of the guys on the stage.
This guy will be, he's going to be in the cabinet of any Republican that wins this. He is going to, once again, be at the end of the night, they'll be talking about him.
Well, he had a bump after the last debate, and then he kind of sunk back a little bit, and he lost about 2 points in the polls. But it's like, he went from 6 to 3. I mean, at this point, it's just a mundane
I think he's at 5 right now, but he's somewhere around
I
7
ignore the
at
polls
time, yeah.
because they don't reflect what people are thinking. They shape what people are thinking. Keep that in
No, I
mind.
don't disagree.
I don't disagree, but when a leftist poll has Trump ahead by 10, that is where
That's
unbelievable.
He's ahead by 110.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
Yeah, just for context,
Washington Post, ABC.
I know.
56.6% is that's his thing right now. 14.4
In the primaries.
DeSantis in the primaries right now. That's a 42.2 point spread. But nobody has ever lost a primary with that kind of margin.
Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say, but think about, we have witnessed the worst presidency in
We really have. It's been an embarrassment.
Jimmy Carter
in a
a run.
world that wasn't corrupt.
Yeah.
He'd be up by, seriously, it would be 95.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be close.
I have trouble believing these polls. I think
I know.
they give us something.
I don't know why Talking Thumb Karl Rove is on screen, but I hope someone gives him the Muppet cane. Let's run a quick, we have some clips here of what transpired since the last debate, and then we'll go live.
Nikki Haley with a black eye.
Yeah, and her stockings rolling up under a house. Okay, let's show it.
And the major question going into this first debate was whether the 8 candidates on stage could or would do something to change the basic pattern or trajectory of this race that's so far been dominated by the frontrunner Donald Trump, who skipped tonight, citing his commanding lead. Well, with the debate wrapping up, it appears for now that the status quo probably will remain.
And there's mixed opinions on who had the best night. According to this poll from the Drudge Report, Vivek Ramaswamy won last night's debate, followed by Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, with Asa Hutchinson at the bottom.
Didn't qualify for tonight, by the way.
Why do you think as people
poor
have gotten to know
guy.
you, your
Terrific guy.
unfavorables are up too?
He said he's not
The
dropping out,
reality
though.
is many people are annoyed by my rise and believe that a 38-year-old is too young to be U.S. president.
Governor DeSantis will take center stage in California tonight for the second GOP debate.
According to recent polls, Governor DeSantis has fallen behind. Out of New Hampshire, he has just 10% of the poll, behind Trump, roughly tied with Ramaswamy, Haley, and Christie.
Nikki Haley holds second place on her own, outside the margin of error in the new St. Anselm College Survey Center poll. The former South Carolina governor is at 15%,
I thought you told me it was
still
about
behind
to end
former
there.
President Donald Trump's commanding 45%, but clearly ahead of Ron DeSantis.
Let's show folks from our new poll exactly how steep it is. Look at this. Donald Trump, brand new national poll of Republican
Is that
primary
slightly
voters,
more
nearly
Eric
60%
Cantory? Eric Cantor?
support the former president. You can see here nobody else in single digits.
All right,
Look
let's
at
go
the
really
movement,
quickly here.
too, from
We'll
the
go
start
back
of
to
the
that.
summer.
Right now,
We pulled this
Fox
back
News
in
is
June.
running their
Trump seemed to have a
pre-debate sort of package. Let's see how they're trying to frame this.
We will stop the earmarks.
What is America's role in the world?
We need to build a military fitted to the widening challenges in an ever more dangerous world.
Sometimes you avoid war by showing you're tough.
Yeah, don't go without a jacket,
Faces
Chris.
even more
You
challenging.
can't eat your way out of it.
Reagan even recognized the country in which we now live. Tonight, candidates seeking the Republican nomination converge in California.
Oh no, they're doing the fighter turn.
The Grand Ole Party.
I'm surprised they didn't spritz them with glycerin.
Why did they do that?
Oh my gosh, that's like a Ron Burgundy. I half expect an eagle to go.
I swear I'd die laughing if that happened.
I just found out where California.
All right, guys, remember drinking game rules. Bring them up really quickly. You drink, just a full screen. Anytime the word Trump is mentioned, the word indictment is used, hit the ding. Chris Christie has a fake tough guy moment. Vivek attacks anybody. Ron DeSantis talks using his thumb. What is that? And you finish your drink anytime someone brings up Ronald Reagan or has a thug life moment.
And I am
Trump. Hey, there's Nick's pen pal.
Moderators Fox News Channel Dana Perino and Ilya Calderon, Univision.
Oh no, the
That's
first.
worse than Bill Superfoot Wallace, the first UFC.
Oh my God.
Drink.
And tonight,
The first old man white.
Just drink because that was funny.
It was funny.
to lead that city
You
into a
are
brighter
irrelevant.
tomorrow.
Okay, she's got an accent.
They
I don't like her.
have to convince you, the voter.
I didn't expect that voice.
Allow me to welcome our Spanish-speaking
Yeah, welcome to
audience.
America.
Muy buenas noches a todos.
Oh,
Desde la Biblioteca Presidencial Ronald
Here we
Reagan.
go.
Los
Let's
premios
welcome them into the
Spanglish.
ice truck.
también buscan su voto para las primarias del partido. Bienvenidos.
Thank you,
A little
Mrs.
more juice
Lopez.
there, Casey, if you can.
And good
Yakuza.
evening. So let's meet the candidates.
I decided to go with a
who have
very
qualified
smoky
and
eye this evening.
chosen to be on the stage tonight.
Two of them.
They are positioned by the order.
She went to the makeup artist, said, do figure skater chic. I want this dramatic.
Standing center stage, Florida
Gasps.
Governor Ron DeSantis.
He's smelling a fart.
Look at the teeth on this guy. Holy
And the-
Jesus.
The token Cheshire cat. Vivek.
Okay, I don't know how she's still around. I really don't.
Oh, come on, look at her.
South Carolina.
I don't-
Oh, look at the. Did they put a lens filter on Tim Scott? What is that?
Yeah, they did.
He's back.
They got to put a gum filter on.
Christie.
On the wings
And that
of
fat
Vice
prick.
President
Well, the
Mike
camera
Pence.
adds 150 pounds.
Hey, it's a wax museum.
There's 4 cameras on him.
And North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum.
Good evening.
Hide your children.
Transylvania.
A wide variety of issues important to primary voters. Candidates get 1 minute to answer and 30 seconds to respond if singled out. When their time runs out, we'll all hear this.
That means drink.
We have a lot of ground to cover,
Jeez.
so please keep it civilized.
Oh, shut
Let's
it.
get going.
This is America.
We are in this spacious, sunny place tonight, designed to reflect the very nature and character of Ronald Reagan. It's a place that makes you proud to be an American.
Oh, my God.
Yet today our nation is drowning in division and incivility.
Voters say they dread
I don't
the
care. I'm fine with
2024
division.
election
I'm fine
and
with it.
find
I
politics
want a dividing
exhausting.
line between me
2
and
in 3
Bidenomics.
Americans think the country is on the wrong track, and 3 in 4 say the economy is not in good shape.
Prices are up 18%
They're splitting the
since
thing.
2020.
Just somebody say something.
More than half of the U.S. population has little access to childcare. 85% of Americans say their personal finances are a source of stress.
Tonight, they're going to be
Americans want
focusing on the
believe a
economy,
leader who
clearly.
says, you can follow me. I've got you. Don't worry. President Biden is trying to do that with Bidenomics.
And yesterday, he joined the picket lines where auto workers are demanding more wages and job security. Senator Scott, you recently
And less
reacted
work.
by praising
in spite
Ronald
of a
Reagan
successful
for
business
firing
model.
air traffic controllers in the 1980s, saying, you strike, you're fired. Would you fire thousands of striking auto workers today, Senator?
Yes.
Obviously, the President of the United States cannot fire anybody in the private sector. However, we should
if you
look
were the
back
boss.
at the first bill in Congress under Joe Biden. The first bill had $86 billion for the union pensions because they continue to overpromise yet underdeliver. One of the challenges that we have in the current negotiations is that they want 4-day French work weeks, but more money. They want more benefits, working fewer hours. That is simply not going to stand. I sat in a finance committee hearing when a widow came before the committee who was promised pensions from the unions.
Did he say when a wiggle went before the committee?
Unfortunately,
I think he's trying to say
it
widow,
cut
but yeah, it came
to
out.
$1,000 a month. We must make sure that we honor the commitments that we make, and one of the ways that we do that, do not overpromise and then underdeliver and leave the taxpayers on the hook. I'll say this, Joe Biden
Here's what you say.
should not be on the picket line.
No, look,
He
these
should be
people
on
give
the
to Democrats. They've run these companies into the ground. You, the taxpayer, have bailed them out repeatedly. It's corruption at its finest. They can sink or swim on their own. And it's not my job as president. But I tell you what, if it's not my job to fire them, then it's certainly not my job to bail them out with your tax dollars. Right? Next. We must absolutely not stop listening to advisors. It doesn't make you unintelligent to distill things in a way that people can understand. Show some passion. That's what's missing in all these. Show some passion.
Crossings since Joe Biden has taken office, and he eliminated Title 42. The one thing he should do is finish the wall.
Title 42?
Reinstate Title 42 and get the job.
It was the debate. That wasn't us. It's going to be a close one.
Well, you know what? Drink every time they hit the bell, okay?
No, I thought I heard him say Trump.
Every time they hit that bell, Vivek's going to think it's a Bollywood single.
I do want to talk about the economy and jobs, and especially want to talk about this strike for just a moment more. Mr. Ramaswamy,
Do you think she went in to the makeup artist and said, with my eyebrow, give me the Asa Hutchinson?
He's not going to be
Oh, no,
here.
sorry, give me the what's
Yes, her face. She's very good.
I agree with some of what he said, for sure. I like the spirit of it. I'll say that I don't have a lot of patience for the union bosses. I think that's where he and I actually have a common view. I do have a lot of sympathy for the workers, however. People are going through real hardship in this country. I've been through hardship growing up. My father stared down layoffs at GE under Jack Welch's tenure at the GE plant in Evendale, Ohio. My mom had to work overtime in nursing homes in Southwest Ohio to make ends meet and pay off our home loan. So I understand that hardship is not a choice.
And I even had to double at parties as a Punjabi Jimmy Neutron.
And we choose to be victorious in the United States of America. You know what, if I was giving advice to those workers, I would say go picket in front of the White House in Washington, D.C. That's really where the protest needs to be. Disastrous economic policies
What, do
that have
40
driven
years
up
in prison?
prices, that have driven up interest rates and mortgage rates. At the same time, wages remaining stagnant. What we need is to deliver economic growth in this country. Unlock American energy. Drill, frack,
And
burn
this is why
coal,
Donald Trump is
embrace
looming like a specter, because what they're saying is something that he's already done. Wages went up an average of $5,000 under Donald Trump, talking about opening up our energy reserves like we never have before. So really, their strongest talking points are, I'll do what Trump started doing until he was cut off at the knees in 3 years.
That is how we unleash American exceptionalism. And that's not a Democratic vision or a Republican vision. That is an American vision that we embrace economic growth, and capitalism is still the best system known to man to lift us up from poverty, and we should not apologize for it. That's what it means to be an American.
That's my boy. Good for him. I guess it's a Thug Life moment, so drink, but I'm not finishing it.
Yeah.
Thug Life.
The CEOs of General Motors, Ford, and
West
Stellantis make 336 times the number of rank and file workers.
By the way, later we have a 7+1 things that the Biden family was doing instead of attending this debate. And we also have Thomas Finnegan, I should have said, on the ground at the GOP debate. We'll check in with him later.
Last week you said you side with American workers, but you also support how these companies operate. Which is it?
Well, thank you for the question. I want to thank Univision and Fox Business for assembling such a wonderful forum.
So
Look, I do
old-fashioned of you,
disagree
Mike.
with something Tim Scott just said. Joe Biden doesn't belong on a picket line. He belongs on the unemployment line.
Okay, Ebenezer Scrooge.
I mean, look,
Waiting for the
I'm
laugh.
from the second leading manufacturing state in the country per capita. I was governor of the state of Indiana. We brought 12,000 factories back to America during our administration. I know something about manufacturing.
He looks
I got to
tired.
tell you,
Yeah, but you can't pump gas.
While the union bosses are talking about class warfare,
I know how to build a
talking
car, I don't
about
know how to fill it.
disparity in wages, I have to tell you, I really believe what's driving that is Bidenomics has failed. Wages are not keeping up with inflation. Auto workers and all American workers are feeling it, and families are struggling in this economy. And Joe Biden's Green New Deal agenda is good for Beijing and bad for Detroit. We ought to repeal the Green New Deal.
You know what's really bad? You know what's really bad for Detroit? Yeah. Detroit.
Yeah,
Detroit is bad for Detroit. This whole, while they're living up on Wall Street, shutting DJ, they should shut all of it down. Detroit is just as corrupt as Wall Street, and I don't care about your working class hero crap. You're just shakedown artists in a UAW. Let's call it what it is. The union workers in the Midwest do not equal American workers. They are not one and the same. As a matter of fact, they have the kinds of benefits that you could only dream of. And this is the pandering, and I don't know why they pander to them, considering that they give 99% of their funding to Democrats. You guys can bring that up as an overlay from Open Secrets. Hey, Tim Scott's coming in with a holler back.
Hey, Tom Hanks, relax.
For me, it's why we're focusing on
It's Tim Scott, guys!
and protecting the America we all love.
Oh, this guy
Growing up in a
boils the living
single-parent
shit out of me.
household, I wondered if the American dream would work for a kid in the inner city. I've got good news for every single child, whether you're in the inner cities of Chicago or the rural parts of Iowa. America and the dream, it is alive, it is well, and it is healthy. God
Unlike
bless
your campaign.
these United States of America.
Did you just give a sermon?
Yes, he did.
A little confused.
Can I get a witness, bitch?
Exactly what happened. Biden showed up on that picket line. But why are those workers
Quiet, a
actually
housewife
there?
is talking.
It's because of all of the spending that he has pushed through in the economy that's raised the inflation. So when you look at the fact that we are paying higher gas prices, higher grocery prices, $7,000 more a year for families, what we need to do is I came out with an economic plan, eliminate the gas and diesel tax so that they have more money in their pocket. Let's focus on going after
By the way, we have
America
Alex
and
Jones on, I should tell you, after the debate. I should have been clear. We have Alex Jones on later in the show. Of course, you can watch his Mug Club on Fridays. Look, lead with passion. These people don't get it. They go, don't point to your plan, lead with passion. The economy is not working, and it did work for years, just to be clear. So obviously, we need to revert back to what was working before this guy came into office. You have 8 years of Obama. You have 3 years of Donald Trump, like him or not. You have another 2.5 years now with Biden. You're going to have 4 years when it's done. Let's pull it back and then recalibrate. Are you guys better off? That was Ronald Reagan's question, right? Are you better off than you were before?
Right.
Don't just point to your 5-point plan. Show some passion. That's who's going to win this.
You're mistaking these for real people.
Is because Joe
Well, this guy's a Muppet who was put in a
around?
spin cycle.
With free markets, the subsidies, we're subsidizing the automakers and we're subsidizing the cars and a particular kind of car, not every car. We're subsidizing electric vehicles. And when you decide that we're going to take all of your taxpayer monies, take $1 billion, subsidize a certain type of vehicle, and the batteries come from China. China controls 85% of the rare earth minerals. They're called rare earth because they're measured in parts per million. China is moving 100,000 pounds of earth in Indonesia, in Africa. They're literally destroying the planet so that they can make a battery that's in a car subsidized here. That's why they're striking, because they need 2/3 less workers to build.
Let me just point out something to you. The electric car thing is a boogeyman. It's just another example of course, inept government. But you can go back to 2009. You can go back to the bailout when what they would do is they would give more money to the American manufacturing. And we can pull this up. Someone can fact check me on it. I did it in Detroit and Ruins. They would give more money for any car from GM or Ford that could get more than 30 miles per gallon. Whereas GM alone had more 30-mile-per-gallon cars than Honda and Toyota combined. People weren't buying them. So back then, the government was subsidizing shitty cars no one wanted but got gas mileage that people didn't want. They just turned that to electric cars. So the point is you have to cut the head off of the beast. Yes, forcing them to make electric cars is stupid. So was forcing them to make cars that were unsafe and got 30 miles to the gallon. Call out the corrupt union leadership and their relationship with Democrats. They're afraid if they do it, that they'll lose the Midwestern working vote. You just need to delineate. Let's watch the fat guy.
Debt. And now the
That's
Biden
something about
administration
shepherd's
has put
pie.
another $5 trillion on and counting. They have failed, and they're in the spot they're in now because none of them are willing to tell the truth. None of them are willing to take on the difficult issues. They just want to keep kicking the can down the road. And the
hope it's
inflation
soup.
that Nikki spoke about is absolutely right. It's caused
Chef
by government
Boyardee.
spending. And that's why people all across this country are suffering tonight. And yet we don't get any answers because Joe Biden
because you're pre-gamed with 2 cans of Hormel chili.
And won't
He just kissed Obama on a beach when the sun was going down.
And Donald
Still
Trump
looking at this
hides behind the walls of his golf clubs and won't show up here to answer questions.
He went after Trump.
All the rest of us are up here to answer.
Drink. Yeah, he did.
$7
Drink.
trillion on the debt. He should be in this room
That's Christie's
to
biggest
answer those questions for the people you talk about.
That's
who are
his tough guy
suffering.
moment.
And if the government closes, it's
I don't
the
answer to you, Slither.
of everyone in Washington, D.C., who has failed to do their job and just plays to the grandstand.
Yeah, where were you? Where were you, Chris Christie?
52 points. That's the lead Donald Trump has on you. Tons of fun. I don't think he needs to answer to you at all.
Why is that?
But these guys look fired up. Let's go to them.
We can get it done.
Governor DeSantis, you haven't spoken.
Mr.
Please.
DeSantis.
In Washington,
He was already speaking. She interrupted him to let him you can speak.
Reckless behavior.
Translator.
They borrowed, they printed, they spent, and now you're paying more for everything. They are the reason for that. They have shut down our national sovereignty by allowing our border to be wide open. So please spare me the crocodile tears for these people. They need to change what's going on. And where's Joe Biden? He's completely missing in action from leadership. And you know who else is missing in action?
Don't say Trump.
Donald Trump is missing in action. He should be on
together?
the stage tonight.
Drink.
He owes it to you.
Why would he go on the
his
stage?
record,
Hey,
where they
he has nothing to
added
gain.
That's 2 people that have
$7.8
gone
trillion
after
to
him.
the debt.
Gerald was right.
That set the stage for the
All right.
inflation that we have
And
now.
the
I can tell
front
you
runner.
this, as governor of Florida, we cut taxes, we ran surpluses, we've paid down over 25% of our state debt, and I vetoed wasteful spending when it came to my desk. And as your president, when they send me a bloating spending bill that's going to cause your prices to go up, I'm going to take out this veto pen and I'm going to send it right back to them.
Well, that's the veto pen?
Yes. I just want to
Christie said veal pen?
Very, yeah.
A lot of moms and dads
They
and
do the thumb
Americans,
thing?
and I know that you've been thinking about it because childcare costs, they are up. They're
Here's the thing,
topping
DeSantis.
$10,000 per month.
Once you start that now you have to respond when Trump attacks you in the media. You can't say I'm above it. No. Now you've entered into that. And by the way, I respect it. But you've got to be all in now. Otherwise, it's going to play against you. You're either all in or you're all out. It's not show friends. It's show business when you're doing these debates. But it doesn't end when the clock runs out tonight.
To broaden
Can I put that on a
eligibility for
t-shirt?
childcare
Yeah,
assistance.
sure,
That
why not?
fell
I don't know
apart
what I
last
said.
year.
They're giving Tim Scott a lot of airtime.
The moms and dads out there who are worried.
Well, the guy
What can
can
you
dunk.
tell them if you
He's
weren't
got
able to get it
2.8,
through the
like-
Congress? How could you do it as president?
Certainly one of the things I did as a member of Congress was to make sure that we protected the Head Start programs around the country, giving people the opportunity to pick and choose the place that they send their children. The challenges that we see today under the Biden administration is that the cost for daycare has gone over $15,000 per child. In the Build Back Broker plan, he called it a Build Back Better plan.
We get it.
Don't explain the joke.
$29,000.
Nice guy, but that's rough.
That's what I'm
Fix
saying.
that problem
Just
is
said
to make sure that we
I don't know any
actually
brother that's
cut
not funny.
taxes
I'm saying
and
you
give
just-
more Americans their money back.
That's my point.
When I helped
Ruined
write
it.
the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act,
He's the only- he's the-
we actually
Did him.
lowered the
Explain.
He's the only
Jokes.
black guy in a foot race who needs a Head Start program.
at the federal level. For dual income households by 60%. Then we went a step further. We doubled the child tax credit and made it refundable. By doing that, more parents had more resources to make the decisions how to take care of their family. The one thing we should do is let the American
It feels
people
like he's getting more time.
keep
Yeah, well, he's at
their
2.8%, so he has $38 million of cash on hand. Come on, Tim, make it rain. Get some spinners.
And never going to the
because
border.
Really mischaracterized a part of my view. I think this artificial division is unhelpful in our party. The real divide is not between the Republicans on this stage. And in the Reagan Library, I want to say these are good people
Reagan.
on this stage.
Oh, we have to
real
finish our
divide
drink,
is
Reagan.
between the
Oh, no.
majority of us in this country who love the United States of America and
By the way,
share our
he listened to some
founding
advisors because he saw his polls go down a little bit after the last debate, and now he's cozying up to them. Last time he was attacking everybody. Now he's like, everyone here's a good guy. I'm just glad to be here.
How'd they go down? Probably because he had the highest right after he was.
Yeah, then he kind of had a rebound, and then he went down.
Yeah, and then the mainstream media tore him into asshole.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah.
Immigration and the border.
Let me hit
I
Steve
want
Bonnie.
to say something.
Child care. We have
I think we're going to go on. You have to.
Sir, you have less than 1%. Shut up.
These questions, we're going to get to you. We're going to come back to you. There's a lot of time.
Even the Latino's like, I can't believe you don't shut up.
Cut his mic, please.
You're always talking with your scary eyebrows. They make me have to hide my children.
Count Dracula, shut up.
Sir, we will get you some questions, but you're going to
So
have to let
Vivek
us
was at
move
the
on.
first debate, 7.2%. Now he's down to 5.1.
He's not stopping.
He's not.
You know, cut off the senator from Transylvania.
Ronald Reagan, I guess we all have to.
There you go.
Everyone finish your drink anyway, and then we need a refill.
All right, drinks. Refills, please.
Sometime back, they may have entered illegally.
Sir, be quiet. We need to roll this package.
Government is the problem.
President Reagan granted amnesty to nearly 3 million immigrants, something
Oh,
no
boy.
Democrat or Republican president has done since.
Ronald Reagan's two biggest screw-ups were him basically opening up immigration the way he did and no-fault divorce in California, which he said.
But when you ran for president in 2016, you flipped,
Mild
saying immigrants
walk
should be
for president.
tracked like FedEx packages. Where do you stand now on a path to citizenship?
Double
for
down.
11 million
A path that goes by,
The problem is
buffet.
no one has done anything since we first had this discussion 13 years ago. We're not in a position to be able to do any of that anymore. What we have to do now is first treat this like the law enforcement problem it is. Our laws are being broken every day at the southern border, every day. And Joe
Can someone
Biden
just
and his
answer
crew
yes?
is doing nothing
Do you think we should track them like FedEx packages now? Yes, and I think you should put some makeup on your pigmentless clavicle.
We're going to let it go. And we need to have a president who
We
acts like
had
I
one
did as
that
governor.
controlled the border, and you don't like them. Shut your
First
fat
and
hole.
Foremost. And that means
Thank
what
you.
I'll
That
do
was a
on day
quote from
one
Lincoln.
is sign an executive order to send the National Guard
4 and 7 Hormel chilies ago.
to make sure that we stop the flow of fentanyl over the border,
Stop the flow
but
of heavy
also to
cream.
make sure
Yeah,
that we send a much different message.
He's used to flow stopping. His heart decided to cut that off about 8 years ago.
Jobs we have.
I hate this
but
guy with a
only if you
passion.
come here to follow the law, and only if you come here legally. If you come here illegally, we will apprehend you and we will send you back across the border from which you came. And the fact is that until we set a law and order agenda in this country, not only now but in the future, we won't.
I will
we
say
won't
I
be
like-
able to
I like his
continue
answer,
this.
though. I like his
Well,
answer.
I'm going to say why it's bullshit. That's exactly what Trump did, and he lost the election. So you think you're going to win with that strategy?
Yeah, well, he didn't do
because of
enough.
that.
Donald Trump didn't do enough with the border, I don't think.
Well,
He started it, though.
I
He was the first
agree.
guy to do anything.
Vivek said this week he's going to use the military. Came right out and said it.
Yeah, well.
So let's do it. Never mind the wall. We have flamethrowers, like I said, IEDs. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Oh, hey, look at that guy.
Ah, Joe Lewis.
Hey,
Into
buddy.
the country on a daily basis. In fact, I believe we have a live picture of it tonight. That is
an
happening
ice cream
right
truck.
now, live. In the last decade, the U.S. has spent nearly $55 billion to address the root causes of migration. But crime, poverty, and corruption, they persist, and the number of migrants is only growing. Are we wasting our money?
Yes.
Well, what happens is when Joe Biden waved the green flag, it told everybody to come. And now we've seen 6 million people cross the border. We've had more fentanyl that have killed Americans in the Iraq, Vietnam, or Afghanistan wars combined. We need to make sure that we are a country of laws. The second we stop being a country of laws, we give up everything this country was founded on. So we have to secure the border. The way we do that is, first of all, defund sanctuary cities. You see what's happening in Philadelphia right now. It's got to stop. We need to make sure we put 25,000 more Border Patrol and ICE agents on the ground and let them do their job. I spent 400 miles down that border, and I'm telling you, Border Patrol agents aren't allowed to do their job. Let's go back to remain in Mexico policy. Instead of catch and release, let's go to catch and deport.
What about
and
the
let's
aid that we've been? What about the aid that federal
Yeah, she asked a
taxpayers are
different
paying
question.
to deal with the root causes? It's not working.
The
Or is
only
it?
aid that we should be spending right now is to secure the border, the southern border, the northern border, period.
You would cut
we
off
need
aid
to
to the
keep
region?
Americans
Yes.
safe, and right now Americans are not safe.
We don't like
when
Canada,
we fix
Stephen.
the immigration system, only when we get the border secure, should we ever look at putting any more money into this. Our money should be about keeping Americans safe. We're not doing that. Joe Biden's not doing that. And you mentioned Congress and shutting down government. I'll make it clear. We have to change the budget process in 4 years.
Totally different question,
in
ma'am.
40 years. Congress has only delivered a budget on time 4 times in 40 years. If they don't keep the
I'm
government
not
open,
putting
they
a
should
woman in charge of spending.
Come on.
Oh, for the love of Christ. That's
Cut off the charge of
how much did that top cost her? Come on, somebody's gay here. Raise your hand.
$27 at Ross.
Just a numbers game.
America just last year.
Welcome to the
They
rich and
signed
famous.
strategic partnerships with 7 countries.
your
including
Lifestyles of the second tier.
now include arms
Jesus,
sales
what's his problem?
and training
He's
exercises.
got to take a dump, and he
Hasn't
can't.
taken
Are
a
you
good one in 10
comfortable
weeks.
with China deepening ties with our southern neighbors?
Of course not. And the reason
No,
why
it's
we're in
not.
this mess is because elites in D.C. for far too long have chosen surrender over strength when it comes to the CCP. Some people in our country got rich, our industrial base got hollowed out, and they have been able to
Did we
build
swap out Nick's
the
drink?
second
No.
most powerful
No, I'm good.
military in the entire world.
You're
We
supposed
need
to
a
finish
totally new approach to China. We are going to have real hard power in the Indo-Pacific, like Reagan, to deter their ambitions. We're going to have economic independence from China.
I'm not finishing my drink.
Decoupling our economy.
Just got
We are
fresh.
gonna
We
go
thought,
after the-
yeah, we
That's
can't
a bad
finish our-
idea.
Everyone, by the way, bring up the drinking game rules again for people who are watching right now. You're supposed to finish your drink every time they mention Reagan. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, does it say Trump is mentioned? Yeah.
All right.
Let's put a
We
hiatus
shouldn't
on
have
that rule.
Confucius institutes. So you see a country
Confucius
in decline,
institutes.
our power's in decline. China's going to surpass us this decade, and if they do that,
Wrong.
that's going to affect every single
Ginger
American
Snap's going
household.
crazy
As your
right now, I
president,
guarantee it.
I am not
Well,
going
have
to
him
let
send
that
it in if
happen.
there's something he
I'm
wants
gonna
to deal
reverse
with.
this country's
Hey,
decline.
just said
We
it.
are going to choose strength, not surrender when it comes to the CCP.
Why did he smile when he said that? He said, "We're going to show strength, not surrender with the CCP." You were snarling when they went to you, and you were smiling when you mentioned the CCP.
Let's say his advisor told him to
Even
smile.
if the children are citizens of the United States,
like this
under what legal premise would you expel U.S. citizens?
So the first thing I want to say is I agree with everything the Republicans on the stage are.
That's
on the
a
right side of
loaded
this
question,
issue.
and it's dumb. If we can't expel people in sanctuary cities who are felons, convicted felons, we can't deport non-citizens from our prisons in certain instances. Let's not talk about the dreamers and the children and the anchor babies. Laser in on that question so that we get to the bottom of it and we can be honest about the conversation. Let's go to Jimmy Neutron, photo negative.
About the Constitution and the 14th Amendment.
something about
The difference
militarizing.
between me and them is I've actually read the 14th Amendment. What it says is that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the laws and jurisdiction thereof are citizens. So nobody believes that the kid of a Mexican diplomat in this country enjoys birthright citizenship. Not a judge or legal scholar in this country
Now
will
look,
disagree with
DeSantis
me.
is snarling now, but he was smiling when he mentioned CCP. What's up with his face?
He hates Indians.
Then neither
must be
does
it.
the kid of an illegal migrant who broke the law to come here. And as the father of two sons, it is hard for me to look them in the eye and say, you have to
In the
follow
third
the
eye?
law when our own government fails to follow
Good work,
its
Slumdog.
own
All
laws.
right.
That's how we really go the distance and solve this problem and restore
I
the
hate how
rule
much of
law
myself I
in the
see in
United
you.
States of America.
Oh, wait till
Because
you
that is
get
the
into
whole
6 months, you're going to hang yourself.
You oppose ending birthright
He's got to lower his hair
citizenship.
first of all.
What does
Yeah.
Mr. Ramaswamy have wrong on that issue?
There's no doubt the fact.
She's
that
very
when you
pretty.
Look at the Constitution and the 14th Amendment. It was
Back to
certainly
this
written
guy.
as it relates to slavery, not as it relates to illegal immigration. It's been applied to illegal immigration. So the challenge that we face is, in fact, one that has to do with whether or not.
By the way,
people that
you
come
guys
here-
can comment. We'll be taking your chat on MugClub. I think that Donald Trump is looking at Tim Scott for VP. Just my thought.
Can I ask why?
Because he's been very complimentary of Tim Scott, and Tim Scott has been really kind of laying off going after Donald Trump, and because he's a black guy.
It was designed for slavery and not for illegal immigration.
Okay,
I'll
you
go
said
one
that again.
step
Let me go quickly. Lane the Brain did come in. According to Bloomberg, China wouldn't overtake us until at the earliest the mid-2040s, and then it's only expected to be for a minute. They probably pull even and then fall back behind us.
You know what I miss? I miss no longer fearing China as the next great superpower. When Donald Trump was president, it was like the paper tiger was exposed.
Exactly.
Now we're back to, I have an uncle who works like in finance. He's like, China is where it is. I'm going, no, you know what? I don't believe that because they're going to have a revolution at some point.
And their economy's
They have some
bombing right
issues.
now. Isn't
Yes, it is. All right, go back to these guys. They're arguing.
I want to respond. These are good people who are tainted by a broken system, and it's not the fault of anybody who's involved.
Some of us are tainted.
Excuse
But the bottom line is when you say
Excuse me.
Bob Daigle.
Don't address
Speaking
them.
while I'm interrupting.
Just
while I'm speaking.
answer.
You said
If
Bob
I may
Daigle.
finish. If I may finish.
Tim, shut it.
No, I think you should let it fly.
Gentlemen, you'll have your turn.
One of the challenges
So
we
listen up.
should
Just say it, Vivek. Just
Look
say
at
it.
this.
between
This is what diversity gets you. A food fight.
If I may address.
on holding Joe Biden.
There should be all white people up there. Am I right, folks?
Oh,
kidding. Relax.
No one can
He's Sicilian. He can say it. There's a black man hiding in his woodshed somewhere down
Every
the.
other CEO expanded into the Chinese market. You know what I did with my first company? We opened a subsidiary in China. But you know what I did that
Where'd
was
you open your
different than
call
every
center?
other company? We got the hell out of there. here. And when I
Told me
started
how to get a load out of a mouse pad.
Strive, right when no, that's years ago.
Just keep.
Right when I started my
Just keep talking.
Strive to compete against BlackRock. Excuse me. No. To compete against BlackRock, I made a commitment that we would never do business in China. And I will say something.
I think you have more than time to explain your point.
Well, if I was interrupted by a lot of people here, and I want to be respectful because I believe these are good people, but I do not believe.
Hey, Ms. Vertiglio, shut up.
Reagan Library.
Yes, I wish
Hey, Hilton May.
He's making a mistake right now.
From one admirer of Ronald Reagan to another. From one
Don't
admirer of Reagan to
find
another.
common ground.
I disagree with everyone in this room. The fact that Tim Scott is doing this a little bit, right, that's his natural. Let it fly. Look, he just rolled his eyes. He's like, this is some bullshit. That's Tim Scott. Show the real Tim Scott.
No, I agree with that. I'm saying that if Vivek wants to win, ignore him and make your point.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're
No, exactly.
only trying
But I like that Tim Scott is being a little bit more real there.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back.
Trump-Pence administration canceled
They're all going after him.
which put the legal status of
you just
600,000
ruined that for
dreamers
this guy?
in the hands of the courts. Dreamers
Mike
work
Pence, I
and they
forgot
pay
you were
taxes.
here.
It's like cutting away from Macho Man Randy Savage to show a jobber like Jean-Pierre Lafitte. Like, why? Go back to Pence.
Dreamers.
Look at Joe Pesci on the
First, let me say I'm glad Vivek pulled out of his business deal in 2018 in China. That must have been about the time you decided to start voting in presidential elections. So we're nice to have you
Again,
participate
going
in
after
elections.
Vivek.
So let me speak to this issue. Number one, I negotiated the Remain in Mexico policy.
Yeah, I guess maybe you need to hook some of your electrodes up to your own head because you're coming across as bitchy and gay, Pence.
It's just so.
And despite
so
what's said here today,
whatever.
we reduced illegal immigration and asylum abuse by 90%. And as President of the United States, I can do it again. And the truth is, we need to fix a broken immigration system, and I'll do that as well.
How many
But
times have we
first and foremost, a nation without borders is not a nation.
Thanks,
we
Reagan.
have to secure the southern border of the United States of America.
And guys,
I know,
I'm sorry to subject you to this. Like, this is useless lip service. This is the kind of crap that people don't care about. When we go to commercial, we have a 7+. This is why we try and make it entertaining for you. You can use the hashtag Crowder Debate Night. You can get $10 off.
Yeah.
MugClub, you get Nick DiPaolo every day, 5 p.m. Eastern. You get Alex Jones on Friday. You'll get the Hodge Twins. You get Brian Callen. You get our additional Friday show. You get Guns and Gear. Sorry that I missed it. You get all of these things and more. Like, this is boring, and this is just, it's one of those things that, unfortunately, you get to see it on display, but they have nothing to offer. These are empty suits. This is how you know the system is rigged, and this is why Donald Trump is ahead by more than just basic double digits, because no one trusts these folks.
You don't find Pence authentic? I mean, I think he speaks right from the heart.
He's as authentic as Olive Garden is Italian.
That's right.
Cold ice heart.
no time for on-the-job training. I'm going to be ready on day one to get Congress to step up.
All right, let's see the response. It sounds a little fiery.
United States, build a military fitted to our times, and we're going to get spending in Washington, D.C. under control.
Bring up the drinking game rules again, just so people can actually enjoy themselves tonight.
Keep the audio on the way you do that. There you go.
How will these candidates make America safer as rising
they're going to
crime
commercial.
plagues our cities?
I'll answer
Debate
that.
night continues in moments.
When we come back.
All right.
Ooh. Hey, look, they're going after Vivek hard.
Yes.
Every single one of them, I think, has taken a shot at him, except for maybe one or two. Count Dracula on the end hasn't done it yet, but maybe he will. We'll see.
Yeah, hold on. Before we continue here, we'll do a recap, but we actually have our correspondent on the ground, our on-the-ground correspondent, Thomas Finnegan, who's out there at the GOP debate. Let's go to Thomas Finnegan. Okay.
Hi, Stephen.
Hey, Finnegan, what do you have for us?
Well,
brother?
it was a long drive, but I made it.
Yeah. Why does it say goop behind
you?
you?
Told me to go to the GOP.
No, I said GOP. I said GOP. Finnegan, go to the GOP for the debate. You're at Gwyneth Paltrow's headquarters. How could you have been so wrong?
Are you sure I'm wrong?
Yes. Yes, that's goop. I'm positive. I just, you know what? Let's get you back on the road.
I'll head back out.
We'll check back in with you.
One of those vagina candles on my way.
That's disgusting.
that's
Tim,
terrible.
let's cut him off. Let's get him.
Really quickly, a funny little meme that was just thrown in about Pence and Vivek here.
Johnny Quest.
Perfect.
That's what it looked like.
Perfect.
It's like, we don't have time for on-the-job training. Oh man, so they've gone after Trump, right? They Christie and Ron DeSantis look a little too close to me, a little too in lockstep in their speeches.
Right.
For that. I'm wondering, did somebody feed their campaigns a line on calling out Donald Trump? You know who else should be here right now? Donald Trump, because they went after Biden first. He's missing in action in leadership, and then Donald Trump is missing from this debate. They said almost the exact same thing.
Do we have the clip of the? Do we have the Donald Trump is speaking at the UAW?
Yeah.
So for those of you who missed it, we're going to check back in with this later. But again, here's Donald Trump doing what he does tonight. Instead of showing up at this debate, he was speaking to the workers there at the. Was he in Michigan or where was he?
Yeah, I think he was there.
Okay, let's show a highlight of his speech today.
I put everything on the line to fight for you. I've risked it all to defend working class from the corrupt political class that has spent decades sucking the life, wealth, and blood out of this country. That's why I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for a revival of economic nationalism and our automobile manufacturing lifeblood,
Who's
which
yelling?
is sucking out of our country.
Tell her to shut her hole and get back in the kitchen.
whole time. The whole
I
time.
want a future that protects American
comedy
labor,
club.
not foreign labor.
I love how instead of shouting her down, he just overly enunciated manufacturing.
Yes.
Manufacturing, because I can't say the C word, right? You know I can't say it, but that's what you are.
China.
Read between the lines.
Hey, look, if she called me, Nick, you'll be here. We'll role play here. We'll do yes and like improv. Let's say that you would have referred to me as a C word. I know you are, but what am I, is what I would say.
The entire time, she was like, "We need you, Mr. Trump."
I know.
All right, one more clip of it because they're bringing back the
Fucking
debate.
idiot.
Here he is, winning over the Midwest.
Under crooked Joe Biden, you have none of this. You have none of the things
That takes
we want.
balls to show up there.
Instead of
Good for
economic
him.
nationalism, you have ultra left-wing globalism. They hate our country. And the workers of America are getting,
They brought hype
to
people.
put it very nicely, screwed.
Like the
Getting
Dixie Chicks.
screwed. Spoke for a few seconds.
Preach.
Did you notice he spoke for what? A few seconds? And he had
That's all he
absolutely
could do.
no idea what he was saying. He didn't know where he was. He didn't know where he was.
Is that
He didn't
the-
know what we
is
were
that the
saying.
lady? I don't know who-
Is that the
Where am I?
lowell
He's
survivor
saying,
of
"Where
Diamond
am
and
I?"
Silk?
Oh, you're
No, they were Trump supporters.
No, I know.
They were. All right,
The,
the debate-
lady's a supporter. They're
Oh, is
yelling
she?
out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. And by the way, I love that he's made nationalism a good word. He's decided I'm going to co-opt it. Just like fake news. A lot of people
Right.
don't remember this. Fake news was used by the left to try and say fake news. And then he said, it's fake news. He's very good at jujitsuing that, even though he doesn't like the word because it's foreign. Let's watch this
All of the
debate.
lawlessness, the shoplifting, all the carjackings, the armed robberies, they're all surging. Progressive prosecutors were elected by their constituents, and they can't be fired by a president. So what would you do to end the revolving door of criminality?
Well, look, Dana, the only one on this stage who's done it. For 7 years, I ran the 5th largest office in this country at the U.S. Attorney's Office in
come
New
on,
Jersey.
let's not get
And
into
we set
dimensions.
records for the number of prosecutions.
Fifth largest.
proud of yourself.
Like Panera at the
And the
airport?
reason was that we went after the crime that was affecting
talking
people's
about?
lives.
Get it
And as
right.
president,
It was
I will
Obama.
appoint the Attorney General and instruct that Attorney General that you are to put all the resources that are necessary to bring our cities back under control. The fact is, they will be stretched. There's no doubt about that, but that's what they take.
Like
the
your
job for.
pants.
Size of my
I know.
office stretched.
I know.
Oh,
It's making it too easy here.
And not just in our cities, but we need law and order back everywhere. We need law and order back in our suburbs. People are threatened
Those are
there.
cities
We need
as
it
well.
In our rural areas, people feel threatened there.
saying.
And we need it in Washington, D.C. also. And Donald Trump should be here to
You know what
answer
else?
for that, but he's
Oh,
not.
Donald Trump.
And I want to look at that
You
camera
don't
right
trust
now.
All right, let's
Republican
see. Tough man.
from
You
Jersey
can't help
of New
yourself. I know you're
Another
watching, okay? And you're not here
Who's he
tonight.
talking?
Fake tough. He's
Not
talking to
because
Donald
of
Trump.
Tough
polls
guy, drink
and not
pipe.
because of your indictments. You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record. You're ducking these
Yeah,
things.
that's why
And
he's
let me
not
tell
there,
what's
you
gonna
fat
happen.
fuck.
You
What
keep
is he
doing that,
talking
no one
about?
up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald
Best
Duck.
economy ever.
It's like you just cut the worst wrestling promo.
Hold on. We're
God, I
going to
hate
call
it.
you Donald Duck.
Let me tell you something, Donald.
watching this debate. Someone give me the half and half from the fridge, because you're watching the cream of the crop. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, Chris Christie knows what. He had the 5th biggest office in the land. Someone give me the cream. I got to drink it. I'm losing energy. You need the cream.
Oh, that's a real ask. Cream from the fridge now.
California over the last couple of days.
He
My
looks
wife
tired.
and I have
He
met
does.
3 people who have been mugged on the street.
And they're all
that would have
swingers.
never happened 10
Had
or
a great
20
time.
years ago. In Florida, we back
By the way,
blue.
I will have, I know what you're thinking, I will have a pineapple outside of my hotel
Upside
tonight.
room
Upside
number.
down, yeah.
I had 2 progressive prosecutors that weren't following the law in Florida. I removed them
should
from
be
their
doing
posts,
better.
and the people of
I
Florida
like
are
Ron
safe.
I do
DeSantis,
too.
but look,
I do too.
you do.
right now.
He's speaking with his thumb.
Oh.
Bring up the
Obama.
rules again for people who are new right now. Again, the promo code is Crowder Debate Night. You get $10 off at louderwithcrowder.com/mug. None of this happens if not for MugClub.
That's a
Law and
secret
order
code, Mr.
over rioting and disorder.
On a
We're also
related
taking
subject-
predictions
Smile again.
Yes.
We are also taking predictions, by the way.
on Twitter. Use the hashtag Crowder Debate.
You just said that because you wanted to show the card, which we haven't shown yet.
Yeah, I haven't shown the card yet.
3 years ago, you signed a pledge to support law enforcement. Now, pledges are a nice idea, but what's your actual plan to get more police on our streets?
Why are you in your bathrobe?
Well, and I actually did it in South Carolina, too. You know, what
We gotta
we
see
knew
if
in
Trump
South
responded
Carolina
to
was you
that,
take care of those who
control
take care
room.
of you.
See if he's responding on truth to
But it's not
that guy.
just taking care of them with words.
It's telling the
It's
control
making sure
respond
that
if Trump issues
Okay,
a
they
response.
heard you.
they do. Right now, we have a lot of stolen guns on the street. Well, these law
You're gonna just come
enforcement
in.
officers, they
They're doing
arrest
professional
these
wrestling.
people,
Trump's going to
and
come in
then
as
they
Steve
go
Austin.
right out
Look,
the next
I tell you, you got this motherfucker right here. You want to reach down to the bottom of the barrel. You lift up the bottom of the barrel, scrape the bottom of the barrel, and you go lift up that barrel. You end up with fucking Chris Christie, okay? I tell you what I'm going to do here. Chris Christie trying to talk about me, saying I'm going to drink every one of these fucking beers right here. And I'm not going to listen to a damn word you say. What? Because I do what I said I will do.
antibiotic that we need.
You got
And right
green,
now, there's
brother.
a company in Bristol, Tennessee that produces that, yet our federal government only gets it from China. We need to be focusing on companies that produce in America and supporting those companies that produce in America, not companies
produced
that are
your
helping
Christmas
China.
throw rug jacket?
Governor, we will be talking foreign policy later. Delia?
Yes, thank you, Stuart. We're going to stay in the topic of crime because it affects
I come from a country
all of us.
where there's a lot of it.
For the first
As a
time
matter
ever,
of fact, there is more crime than no crime.
and gun safety are one
It's
of the
in the
most
middle of the day. If you go to a stoplight and it's red, you're going to get hit. It is the opposite. It's like Simon says, but if Simon doesn't say, you commit crime.
is your specific plan to curb
She
gun
said
violence?
Plain.
Well, first we need to know is understand is I think that the liberal left seems to be just completely
hold on a second, I have to
bent
turn into a
on
bat.
prosecuting law-abiding citizens that are gun owners, because every solution they have to this is take away the Second Amendment rights of Americans, and somehow that's going to solve the problem. But all these cities that we're talking about that you showed the videos of tonight, they have some of the strictest gun laws in the country. So we know that that's not what's working. But what we have to do is get back to the core
They didn't
issues
show gun
about
violence, I don't
the
think.
family.
Look,
we have to get back
these
to
are all nice people. I like
behavioral
what they say,
health
but
and
here,
mental
it's like the
health.
difference
We've got to
between
get back
watching
to
someone
actually
who's
enforcing
really
the laws these
show
people
ready,
talked about.
like let's say a Rush Limbaugh, right? Someone who's just legendary versus someone who's one of those, let's say, social media conservative sites where it's like, this is the weekend wrap up and it's a bunch of conservative talking points. That's the difference. There are levels to this game. Here's what I want you to think of when you watch a guy like this. Okay, what sport did you play? Any of you play a sport? Let's say it's basketball. Let's say it's hockey. Pretty good? Okay, I want you to think of the best person you know at that sport. Let's say it's basketball. Let's say it's football. Think of the best person you ever competed with. How far did they go? Now, you're probably not offended at that. Why? Because they probably worked a lot harder than you, right? They probably spent all day practicing and preparing.
Or they were black.
Now, here's what we have black. We have a black viewer. Now, I want you to think of the difference between your level and the level of that person. Now, think of the difference between the level of the best person at the sport that you played, that you know, and let's say an NBA All-Star, or let's say someone who made it to the first round draft right at the NFL. Now, you have the NBA All-Stars. Compare that to LeBron or Michael Jordan or a Tom Brady. There are levels to this game, and you're going in with someone at that level, Donald Trump. This isn't enough. You have to make up for it with grit. This won't work. Let's see what Vivek might try. He's doing the white supremacist symbol. Remember that was the white supremacist symbol?
There's a demand-side problem
How
in this
dare you?
country,
How
too.
dare you?
A mental health epidemic.
I know. Well, he also burns a cross in front of his podium, but,
Kathy
Oh,
and
for the
Derek,
love of God.
they lost their son Sebastian,
Vishnu?
17 years old. He bought Percocet on
Maniscalco?
Snapchat, and then he died. Why did he die? Because it was laced with fentanyl. That is closer to bioterrorism.
Well,
not
let's
a drug
be
overdose.
honest. The fentanyl was a bonus if he was buying Percocet on Snapchat.
But he died.
It wasn't like he wasn't looking for it.
He just had too much.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of everyone making just fentanyl the boogeyman. Like, I get it, of course. You shouldn't be taking any street drugs because fentanyl could be in it. But they try and make it seem like kids are getting addicted to fentanyl because they had a Percocet from a root canal. It's a third rail. No one wants to say that the opioid epidemic is something that politicians don't want to actually address, and doctors now can't prescribe painkillers to people who have been in car wrecks.
I have a theory about that.
Yeah.
Because it is becoming so dangerous. Percocet, whatever.
Well, it's not, though. It's fentanyl. It's street drug.
No, I'm saying, but these drugs that aren't street drugs are laced with this crap.
Yeah.
Eventually, I would think, as retarded as our youth is in this country, they're going to be like, I'm not doing drugs anymore. Long term.
At some point, we'll see.
At some point.
It's like
there'll be 11 kids left in the
It's
country.
like
but,
double dare.
huh? But I'm saying,
Yeah.
eventually you're going to know somebody who knows somebody, or
Yeah.
everybody's going to know somebody. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's see what DeSantis has to say.
To go after the Mexican drug cartels. They are killing our people.
The military.
And the stories that
Hey,
I've
don't
seen
talk about my brother.
Infant, 18 months,
Wait for
parents
him.
rented an Airbnb. And apparently the people that had rented it before were using drugs.
Oh, yeah, by the way,
infant
this Ilia Calderon, she said that Trump's rhetoric empowers white supremacists. So I guess it empowers that little spot in her neck.
What is she doing on the panel?
happened, this carnage
Fox
happened in
News
our
always has to
country.
both
I
sides
am
of
not
stuff.
going to do
Partner
that.
with
So I
Univision.
guarantee you on day one, this border is going to be a day one issue for me as president. We're going to declare it a national emergency. Yes, we'll build the wall. We'll do remain in Mexico. But those Mexican drug cartels are going to be treated like the foreign terrorist organizations that they are.
Good.
All right, Vice President Pence. We're going to move on.
I need Vice President Pence.
Vice President Pence. Just last month, Vice President Pence, you said if elected, you would repeal all Obamacare mandates. However, you also made that same promise in 2016.
Whoops.
And at that time, Trump-Pence had congressional majorities for at least the first 2 years, and you did not deliver on that promise. So Obamacare, right now, it is more popular than ever.
Signed,
Why
sealed,
should Americans
delivered. You
trust you if you
suck.
become president to fix that, or is Obamacare here
Look at
to
his
stay?
smug face. I'm sorry, I really.
I know.
Well, first, let me speak to the mass shootings issue, and then I'll answer that question. It's an important one, Dana.
He always says, well, first let me thank.
Yeah.
Well, first let
Someone
me
that
speak.
believes that
First let me bullshit.
Justice denied. And as a father of three, as a grandfather of three beautiful little girls, I am sick and tired of these mass shootings happening in the United States of America. And if I'm president of the United States, I'm going to go to the Congress of the
I'll move the
United
shootings
States.
to Mexico.
Do what?
And we're going to pass a federal expedited death penalty for anyone involved in a mass shooting.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that they will
Death
meet
penalty
their
does so
fate
much
in
to stop crime right now.
It is a deterrent.
It's not.
But he's not going to be able to get a federal death penalty on that.
It's just not even a deterrent. Sorry.
You notice that Pence, comment, do you notice that Pence picks the solutions that obviously can never be implemented? He picks them just because it's something that no one can call him on. Did you just request a tissue?
I did.
Is your nose
upset?
running?
Are you upset?
I might cry. By the way, you know what a gangbanger has never done? Hey! Stop, man. You could get the death penalty. Dang it.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Or a mentally
Nobody's
ill,
done that.
a mentally
It's not
ill
gonna
kid
happen.
shooting up a school. No, it's true.
I mean, I'm still pro death penalty, but yeah.
I'm pro death penalty, but thank you, Mike Pence, for giving us something that is going to do nothing to stop the violence in
He's
this
like a guy at a party who's 2 drinks in who acts like he has an inside lane, like, hey, look, Nick, you know how you stop mass shootings in this country?
Got a hot tip.
I got 2 words for you. Death penalty.
What? Heard it here first.
You got it. I'm not kidding here. You look at him.
Lee Gifford.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what that means, but I feel like it's accurate.
I do too. I went with it.
All right, let's see what he
Remind
says.
everyone to keep within their time frame so that we can get as many questions
And
in as
Bergen,
possible.
please shut the hell up.
This question for Governor DeSantis. Over 26 million Americans don't have insurance
Tim
coverage.
Scott's
Governor
piping up.
DeSantis, 2.5 million of them are in your state.
Am I right?
That's worse than the national average. Can Americans trust you on this?
Well, I think this is a symptom of our overall economic decline. Everything has gotten more expensive. You see insurance rates are going through the roof. People that are going to get groceries. I spoke with a woman in Iowa, and she said, for the first time in my life, I'm having to take things out of my grocery cart when I get to the checkout line because the total goes up so quickly.
No, you're not.
So this is very real, and people are hurting
And I
out
said
there.
to her, like
so
what?
We've got to address
She couldn't
the
come up with anything. She was a fucking liar.
Bidenomics, the overspending,
That's the end of the
taking
anecdote.
all Biden's rules and regulations. I'm going to throw
What, I
the
didn't slap her?
trash
Of course
can
I
on day
did.
one.
So
You're
we
not
have a
gonna to
problem
worry.
with lying.
Yeah, we need more honesty from.
We need more lie detectors in Kroger's.
That will lower your gas prices.
He's gonna
And what
turn
we
into
need to
Paul
do with
Lynn, the
healthcare
angrier
is
he gets.
Recognize our health care is putting patients at
I
the
was
back
an Eagle
of the
Scout,
bus.
goddammit.
We have big pharma.
How much
big
for eggs? Yeah.
And we need to tackle that and have more power for the people and the doctor-patient relationship.
Governor, why is your
Don't
record
smile.
in Florida
Record.
on insurance worse than the national average?
It's our state's a dynamic state. We've got a lot of folks that come. Of course, we've had a population boom. We also don't have a lot of welfare benefits in Florida. We're basically say this is a field of dreams. You can do well in the state, but we're not going to be like California and have massive numbers of people on government programs without work requirements. We believe you work and you got to do that, and so that goes for all the
God bless
welfare
Rudy
benefits.
Giuliani.
And you know what that's done, Stuart? Our unemployment rate is the lowest amongst any big state. We have the highest GDP growth amongst any big state, and even CNBC, no fan of mine, ranked Florida the #1 economy in America.
Pivoted.
Smiled again.
But that one's at least
That
it
was good.
That made sense. It's like
it was
the brain
cogent.
sent the signal to his mouth.
For
Yes,
American
white neck.
families, accounting for 2/3 of all
It's
personal
alopecia.
bankruptcies.
She looks like the
As
Hispanic
president,
Dana Perino.
How you protect Americans who get sick from financial ruin?
First of all, how can we be the best country in the world and have the most expensive health care in the world? We have an issue. My mom was in the hospital, and when she was in
Point
the
out
hospital, they
the
tried
giant handout that was Obamacare to insurance companies. This is one thing that Donald Trump does relatively well. A lot of people don't realize this. Okay, so Obamacare said you cannot deny people for pre-existing conditions. I understand that. That sounds good to a lot of people because they say, let's say I have cancer. Let's say if you're a millennial, you're a Gen Z, you have generalized anxiety or acne, and you can't get insurance because of that. So you can't be denied for pre-existing conditions. However, there was nothing to tell the insurance companies that they had to put a cap on it. So now they have to accept every single person who, by the way, they decided to cut out of their insurance pool because insurance is something you're supposed to buy preemptively, right? Because you'll be costly coming with a pre-existing condition. And they decided to add those costs to everyone's insurance plan. Insurance companies never made more money. They never saw the biggest year-to-year increase. They never saw a bigger, year-to-year increase than after Obamacare. Yeah. And it was all done under the guise of you, by the way, the people, getting the 50 million. Remember they used to cite that number of uninsured when a large number of those people were people who chose to not be insured because they were young and healthy. Talk about the handouts to the insurance industry and tie it to Pfizer and Moderna with the vaccine. I don't know why they don't do it. Sorry, we have to go back to Varney and the lady in white.
The real problem ever. We talk about why do we have the most
Jesus, guys.
expensive health care in the world? It's because the federal government got involved the same way they did with EVs, and they said
Gets a
we're going to
question I expect
subsidize a
with
particular
Dave
kind of
Chappelle.
software.
I live in a trash can.
I
know, those are Muppet
hey,
Bros.
we're going to do this. It's going to make everyone more productive. All of you that are watching have been to a doctor's office when the
I can just
doctor's got his
picture him in a
back to you and
casket
their
like
hands
that.
on a keyboard.
And by the way, his suit jacket, it doesn't help, is so short and his sleeve is so long.
Yes.
Became less productive. They saw less patients per day. His U.S. health
Men's
care
Warehouse.
because they were
Quick
subsidizing.
I hate the way you look.
Why were you born in a Jim Henson creature shop?
Every time the federal government's involved, whether it's higher education, healthcare,
But also
or
bring up
non-
the what's his name? Oscar the Grouch eyebrows.
Yeah. Hey, control room. Give me the average cost for an MRI in the United States, real quick.
What's the government's role in finding a way forward? The second Republican
wrapping.
debate rolls on from Simi Valley.
An informed patriotism is
Oh.
what we want. And are we doing a good enough job teaching our children what America is and what she represents in the long history of the world?
Really quickly here. All right, so they gave me that. Average cost of an MRI is $1,325. You know why? Insurance. I went to a place that doesn't take insurance, doesn't need you to have a doctor send that in. They got me in within an hour on a Saturday, and I think it cost me $375 cash.
Whoa.
I have one
That
better than
is
that.
the
I
problem.
blew out my back when I was working for Fox News in New York
Don't
City.
say you have one better. That was pretty good.
That's pretty good. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to top you. By the way, the promo code is Crowder
I'm gonna
Debate Night. We'll
top
be
both
taking
yous.
your chat. So I blew out my back. Remember they had to
Yeah, I
cut
did.
off my pants because I lost all motor function on my leg.
that when you
then
lost
then the male nurse shoved his finger up my ass to check. They do that to check to see if you have any damage
He
to
was
your
gay.
to see, to your lower spine.
Yeah,
Right?
sure.
And he had fingers like Polish sausages. But they misread the MRI. They read the wrong
prison
MRI. The
time, Doc?
chairman of Lenox Hill Hospital in Manhattan, because I couldn't go home. They sent me home. They said, "You're fine." I couldn't walk home. I had to have an intern from Hannity.
Sure, that
Take
was-
me home and help me change my pants. They said, "Sorry, you got the wrong MRI. Let's just check. Oh, you don't have insurance?" I didn't at this time. And they said, "Sorry, the $12,000 bill, beep, beep, beep. It's $250. Paid it. Boom, I was good to go."
Yeah.
Steve, I went to the same doctor. That wasn't a finger.
You were the doctor. I thought it was
wait.
Sebastian Del Monte. I thought it was Paul Provenza. Service. All right, do we have to go to a...
That's the problem. No,
Okay.
no, we're good, right?
All right, let's
that
go
is the
to
problem.
is the first commercial break that we're going to go to, is there BTS there? Is that what we're talking
Yeah, we have,
Okay.
we have a lot of BTS reel.
So we are going to be back here with you in I have to go use the bathroom
won't
really
miss the
quickly.
debate,
We
just
will
so you
not
know.
miss any of the debate. Keep it up in the lower third while the break keeps rolling. And we have these shows on Friday sometimes where you get to see what happens behind the scenes with all these sketches, everything going on with the show. And sometimes it's the kind of thing that should never make air, and the entire thing is the YouTube dump button. So we're continuing with the debate in about 30 seconds.
Experiences deep within, listening.
Anyone here ever used Icy Hot and touched your pecker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Molly.
The many that Nick DiPaolo saw in my Rorschach test.
That's perfect. Can't top that.
I invited him to pleasure my which he availed himself with great vigor and zeal.
At least you don't have like purple rings under your eyes.
As that which doesn't change, it cannot be. What happens to you, it cannot be.
Is this from Trolls 4?
So, what is the nature of I? What does that word mean or point to?
Everybody loves Joe Louis.
So, Steven, I got an idea, right? So check this out. So it's like a house party, right? Kids hanging out, getting loose, maybe some people hanging off the sides of stairs, right? Suddenly a guy walks in, says, "Hey, you want to try this CBDISTILLERY tincture?"
Yeah, see, the problem with that is the implication is that they're inebriated. This is the sponsor's CBDISTILLERY. It's CBD. It's the opposite. You don't get high. It's anti-psychoactive.
Okay, well, let me finish.
Yeah, it's got more.
So then everyone tries it, and then everyone gets really high.
Yeah, no, God, no. Gosh, Joe, can you jump in here?
Okay, fine. Look, so here's the pitch, right? So this is a hardworking father, right? He's in the boardroom. We've got pictures of him at the restaurant, a montage of him walking in the city,
Like
with
this so far.
skyscrapers in the background, right? You following me?
Mhm.
Comes home, drops his briefcase, he's loosening up his tie, and then he lights up a CBDISTILLERY cigarette and passes out in his kid's room.
God, Gerald, you two, no. This is CBD, okay? It doesn't get you high. That's the whole point. It's CBD. It helps with stress, anxiety. It can help with inflammation. It's anti-inflammatory. It can help you with some pain after exercise.
Okay, exercise. All right, I got one.
Yeah, we
Okay,
got
check
one.
this out.
Yeah.
All right. Football player just got done training for the day, right?
Okay,
So he's going to sit down. He wants to ice his knee. So he's going to reach into his bag. He's going to grab some of this, CBD relief stick.
Yeah, works
right?
for that. It's good.
He's going to start to apply it on himself, okay? And suddenly, starts realizing how big his hands are getting and how heavy his feet are. Maybe he gets hungry.
No, it's not psychoactive. It's CBD. You don't get high. It's anti-inflammatory. It's actually antipsychotic. CBD, so they have third-party lab tests. All the science is there on their website. It basically sells itself. Am I going to have to write this on my own?
Yeah, you should.
But we can edit it.
Wait, are we filming? We're filming it right now.
Steven's not here, man. Go to CBDISTILLERY.com. Enter the promo code Crowder for up to 60% off. Whoa!
Hoodie, what are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm trying the new pudding from my.
All right, well, hold on. You could transition a little bit, man.
It could have been smoother.
Crying out
the
loud.
The debate's back, so we wanted to make sure.
Get drunk and take off. Hey, by the way, really quickly, because we have very few sponsors, but we do them often with these live streams. It's CB Distillery. It's actually 60% off.
Yeah. With the
helped your neck, by the way.
It did a little bit.
And helped my neck quite a bit, just so you know.
Licking that, who knew?
There's a lot of there's a lot of scientific research on CBD, specifically with neuropathic pain. I was, in third chair last week. You may not know this because I couldn't move my neck after using the CB Distillery. And by the way, after surgery, I use their stuff. Keep it in the lower third always there, Toolman, if you can, please, the debate. After surgery, I was able to use it and the only thing they had me taking was gabapentin, so no narcotics. And the CBD helped a lot. By the way, if you take their full spectrum CBD, which you should, you will test positive on a drug test because there's, less than 0.3% THC. So just so you know.
And pull that lower third.
I was doing a life insurance policy. They were like, "What's this?"
The deal got better. It's not just 20%.
It's 60%.
Up to 60% off. Wow. That's fantastic.
Let's go to the Rockefeller Christmas tree. Nikki Haley.
States and let states decide what education looks like in their states. Right. And we need to start building things in America again. Let's put vocational classes back in our high schools, and let's get our kids building the things that we know that we can make. When we start to focus on that and really bring in that parental involvement, that's when we'll start to see a difference. But we've got to get parents back included. We've got to quit spending time on this DEI and CRT.
What's funny is Nick DiPaolo is the most clever man I've ever met in my life, and it's silly, stupid shit that makes him laugh.
Oh, yeah. Why is she in a hockey rink?
To have the jobs of the next generation.
On the subject of education,
yeah, that's what it looks like.
For Governor Christie.
Governor
Students
Christie.
in your state are getting high marks on their report cards. But minorities are not doing well with math and reading.
Why are you looking at me,
Hispanic students averaging 29 points lower.
I want to see some honesty here. They're stupid.
In New Jersey.
Don't say it.
Would you address
I'm just saying.
minorities first?
I'm not saying I don't believe that.
No, I know.
You have to address all students. And look, in our state, Stuart, frankly,
carbohydrates come
governor,
first.
That gap was close to 50%. And what we did was institute more charter schools and more Renaissance schools and more public school choice in New Jersey with innovative
he said
solutions
Publix. He meant
in
Publix
cities
with an
like
X.
Camden.
That's right.
Now
Different.
we took what was the worst school districts in America during my time, and we have now increased that by nearly 40% in terms of their proficiency. It can be done when you give people choice.
Call
But
us.
let's tell the
I was
truth,
going to say
everybody,
caloric
about what this
intake,
is.
but hey, if you're really upset with the fat jokes with Christie, can you let us know? Again, you can comment. If you like you can also comment or hit the like button on YouTube or on Rumble. We're children. As Nick DiPaolo, and by the way,
is somebody complaining?
You should tune into his show every day.
Somebody
at 5.
fucking whining at home.
He's the funniest.
No.
This is the
fat
funniest.
fuck ever problem.
Okay,
Nick,
come on, Nick. Come on, Nick. Come on. 5 p.m. Eastern. I can't tell you how happy I am that we have. Okay, sorry. Go.
Every day.
Someone help me, guys!
Inside the White House every day for the worst of their teachers, not for our students to be
Someone
the best
help
they can
me!
be. A president of the United States has to take on the teachers union. I did it in New Jersey, and I will do it as
Speaking
president
of Jersey
the
Mikes.
Oh, listen to this.
I have a question for you. Governor DeSantis, I have a
Governor,
question for you.
new rule. You can't
Florida's
fucking
new
moderate a
history
debate if you
curriculum
can't speak.
says, quote, slaves develop skills which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit. You have said
It's pronounced
slaves develop
go winner.
skills in
We
spite of
round the
slavery,
W.
not because of it. But many are
He's
still
probably going to have a
hurt.
strong answer here.
Go!
For the sentence of
Yeah,
slaves,
what's the matter with this guy?
is personal. What is your message
He's doing
to
his
them?
Clint Eastwood.
First
This
of
is
all, that's a
Metamucil.
hoax that was
Talking with his thumb, drink. Bring up the drinking game rules, by the way, for everyone who's watching right now. Hashtag Crowder Debate Night. Anytime he talks with his thumb, you drink. Let's go back to
stop playing these games. Here's the
white
deal.
debate.
Our country's education system is in decline because it's focused on
Well, then kick out the
indoctrination,
Chinese
denying
kids.
parents' rights. Florida
Good night, everybody.
represents the revival of American education.
And the
We're ranked
Indians.
#1 in the nation in education by U.S. News and World Report. My wife and I, we have a 6', 5, and 3-year-old. This is personal to us. We didn't just talk about universal school
6'5",
choice.
3-year-old?
We enacted universal school choice. We didn't
Tim
just talk
Scott's like,
about
that's my kid.
That's my kid.
That's my kid. I was a milkman. Then I moved to South Carolina.
It's Dikembe Mutombo's kid. What are you talking about?
Constitution in our schools in a really big way, just
That's
like
a good
President
reference.
Reagan asked for in his farewell address back in 1989.
wanna see a
Florida
hockey
is
puck hit
showing
the
how
wall
it's
behind.
done. We're standing with parents, and our kids are benefiting.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
You're opposed to these new standards. What is your message for Governor DeSantis?
There is not.
Yes, Miss Bleach Tracheotomy.
There is not a redeeming quality in slavery.
He and Kamala should have just taken the one sentence out. America has suffered because of slavery, but we've overcome that.
Really? I haven't heard that in 3 seconds.
On earth because
No, I think this is good, though. He's using it as a jumping off point.
You're a big Tim Scott fan, huh?
I like him.
I'd like to kick him in his ass.
So often we think that all the issues, we talked about crime and education and healthcare, we always think that those issues go back to slavery. Here's the challenge, though.
What's the challenge?
Black families survived slavery. We survived poll taxes and literacy tests. We survived discrimination being woven into the laws of our country.
Considering your word whiskers
What
tonight,
was
that remains
hard
to be seen.
Survived
was
affirmative
Johnson's
action.
Great Society, where they decided to put money, where they decided to take the black father out of the household to get a check in the mail, and you can now measure that in unemployment, in crime, in devastation. If you want to restore hope, you've got to
He drank his milk tonight. He's coming in. He's getting a little. Look, this is the real Tim Scott.
That's what I
wanted
said
him
to
to
you.
show the real Tim Scott. Early on, he wasn't.
Remember last time I said there's no boring black people?
No, there are not.
Finally woke up tonight.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right direction. It's why I can say I have been discriminated against, but America is not a racist country. Never, ever doubt who we are. We are the greatest country on God's green earth. And frankly,
All of a sudden he gets hit with a full Heineken.
needs a brand new leader. And I'm asking
No, with the moderator, it'll be a Corona. Corona with a lime in it.
10.7 million
No, from the
students
audience,
in over 18,000 public schools
Well,
nationwide
the northern border is open. You could get hit with a Clamato.
change their identity without parental notification. Governor Christie told Stewart last week that he would pass a federal law to protect parental rights.
He looks like the actor who played. Vivek looks like the actor, if he was brown, who played the mayor of Gotham in The Dark Knight. Bring him up. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman?
No, the mayor.
Oh, the
Not
mayor.
police
Oh, yeah.
commissioner,
Okay, I
bitch.
know he's talking about.
He's got the most powerful hairdryer in the
Trying to
city.
fact check me. Have the right to know. And you know what? The hypocrisy of this
They were
is,
wrong.
even New Hampshire failed to actually get past a piece of legislation here.
You
The
just say
very
get
people
past a
who
piece?
say that this
Get
increases
past
the risk.
a piece.
Is that like he said, get, and then Tim Scott said, get a piece of ass?
Oh, yeah.
Come on,
Increased
Vivek.
risk
Yeah,
of
look.
suicide.
Yeah, you're right. It's like the
And I'm
brown
sorry,
version.
it is not compassionate to affirm a kid's confusion.
It's like every guy
that is
in
not
Parks and Rec.
compassion, that is cruelty. I met two young women, Chloe and Katie, early in this campaign, who are in their 20s, now regret
All right,
getting
sure.
double mastectomies and a hysterectomy. One of them will never have children. And the
Lot of
fact that
lot
we
of ice,
allow
please.
that to happen in this country
Yeah, lot of
is
ice.
barbaric. So I will ban genital mutilation
Excuse me,
or
what is
chemical
my,
castration under the age of 18, and parents have absolutely
Would you
the
try to
right.
pass a federal law that says parents should have that right?
We're going to require states absolutely have to follow that
my
through.
favorite.
Bergam,
We
just to
stand
follow
for
up on
parental
this,
rights.
because
Yes.
you in your state, you do not have a law that says
What if
parents
he's just
can't be
gonna-
notified.
You
When
are
you
a
wanna be
child's
president, would you try to
plaything!
pass a federal law to say parents have that right?
I think this is a state's issue, but I
Let
do
me
want to
just say
say
this about
something,
that.
because all night long we've been talking about
Data.
issues about how it's broken
Gary
in Washington,
Oldman had
and
a
I
group,
respect all
had
of the
a
people on
an
this
orgy in my house.
What
of
is
public
this? I'm
service.
trying to
Thank
figure.
you.
He's got an
But the
Italian nose. He's got a German guy's
Hey,
hair.
It's Martin Scorsese.
Listen.
being a problem in North Dakota is because we have a business leader. I've got more experience.
90% of
as a business
voters
leader.
don't know who he is or that he is running for president.
Is that
Also
true?
on stage, thousands of high-paying jobs that have real
That's a
meaning.
real
So
stat.
as a
He's
business
not even
leader,
gonna sell
you come in
books.
and you treat
Overlay
the taxpayer
04.
like a customer. So in North
How did he
Dakota, instead of
qualify?
fighting with the
Bring up
teachers
overlay
union,
04.
04.
What do you do? Blow Rupert?
90% of voters don't know who Doug Burgum is just yet. Well, holding out hope.
Yep.
Really
How do you
are
get into the
concerned
debate?
about,
There's a
worried
chance.
about
He gave one of the
parents
Murdoch
and
kids a hand job.
notification in schools.
Yes, and
More
that's
than
why
that.
we have 50 platforms of innovation. That's why we have states. There are certain things the federal government is supposed to do.
I'm making fun of a guy who's a multi-zillionaire.
That needs to be assembled.
Right.
We've got to move it
All
back to
right.
states. Do what
Like
we did
I
in North
said,
Dakota.
great to
Instead
be
of like,
here
oh,
at,
here's a choice school and
thank
here's
you
an
very
old
much.
here's an old school. The old
Thank
way
you,
the
Diane.
teachers
All
union
right.
and kids are trapped. We make
And by the
every
way, everyone
school
give
in
a
North Dakota
give a
innovations.
hand or send a comment in for everyone who makes this happen here behind the scenes. They help
Right.
with the drinks. They help with the research.
They do.
And even though Mr. Marks here he'd have a better chance if he just started singing like Billy Joel's "Moving Out." Just anything.
Just
anything.
Just pick up where you left off last time they cut you off.
Vice President Pence, the Department of Homeland Security warns that violence against LGBTQ+ people is on the rise
Oh,
and
for the love of
intensifying.
Christ.
According to a recent study,
Again, she
members
said
of that
that
community-
Donald Trump.
My wife isn't a member of the teachers union, but I got to admit, I've been
Spit it
sleeping
out,
with a
shithead.
teacher for 38 years. And so full disclosure. Look, education is a state and
He's
local
looking for a
function.
laugh, man.
The state of Indiana had one of the very first school
Guys
choice
made a naughty pine.
And when I was governor of the state of Indiana, we doubled it. And as to your question, Dana, let's be very,
Well, that's
very
his
clear.
biography.
Finally,
the
you got
place
the question.
beyond the naughty pines.
Community schools in Iowa.
Gosling's riding a dirt bike behind him in a bank heist.
Have a permission slip from your parents to get a Tylenol, but you could get a gender transition plan without notifying your parents. I weighed in with a foundation. That's not
as a
bad
flyweight.
policy. That's crazy.
Then I went
We're
too,
gonna
but he
stand
broke
up
the
for the
scale.
rights of parents.
They had to
and
weigh
we're
him at the
gonna
zoo.
have
They put him in a free willy
on
hammock and had to break down his north wall.
or surgical
I weighed in on the
surgery.
issue, and then I went to a Shell station. I was dumbfounded.
What did you say again about that, Chris Christie?
with the ability to choose where their kids go to school,
Got a
whether it's
crull
public,
stuck in
private,
blowhole.
parochial, or homeschool, you empower parents, and our schools will straighten up and reflect
Everything.
our
Look,
values.
can you guys let me know if you disagree here? Everything with him is a platitude. It's not really specific. You embolden parents.
That's right. No, you're absolutely
Fine.
right.
Okay, I agree with you in principle, Mike Pence, but this is your opportunity to let people know how you're going to make a difference. This guy is just a professional coattail rider. Let's watch Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Every year on semiconductor
Liberace's
research
gold
and development.
toilet.
That is 1 CHIPS Act per year. Governor DeSantis, you say companies like Google and Meta have too much power.
Yes, this is
Doesn't
important.
going after
Power.
them give China an edge?
No, I think you look at how our societies develop. They have huge amount of power over our society. They've cracked down on free speech. We're not saying you don't want
Give me
to
a
do
specific
business,
here.
but you want it to be
Section
a free
230.
market.
What are you going to do? This affects everybody, especially with Rumble right now in international governments. Give me a specific.
We have subcontracted out so much of our national needs to the CCP. We rely on them for a whole host of issues. We need to reshore and we need to decouple all those important industries. We need to get that back in the United States. They are our top geopolitical adversary by a country mile. Xi Jinping's got huge ambitions, not only
Google
in the
Meta,
Asia
Section
Pacific,
230.
as
Will you
mentioned
revoke their
earlier, in
status
our
as a
region.
public utility?
But
Go.
ultimately, we've got to beat them on the economy. And so that's what we'll do as president of the United States.
Governor Christie, I wanted to follow up on this because 22% of American workers fear their jobs will be lost to a robot. And you said,
Look,
in the
I'm
past-
sorry. This is the reason. That's all Fox gives them on the biggest issue of our time.
right.
Social media, these tech giants, 5 companies control everything that you see and hear. We're experiencing it right now. Not only yours truly, Russell Brand, by the way. Of course, you've seen what's happened with Rumble. You literally have the UK Parliament telling Rumble that they are going to ban them. By the way, they were already banned by the French government at one point. They flipped them the bird. These people have more power than they have more power than, think of this, the Senate when you're going back to Rome. Think about that for a second. And they skim past it. Why? Well, because Fox is News Corp, and by the way, they spend billions of dollars advertising on big tech every year. So they want to keep that stranglehold. This is that sort of coordinated professional wrestling. When you have CNN, Turner, you've got ABC, Disney, NBC, Universal, News Corp. They don't really want to lose the foothold that they have on YouTube, that they have on Facebook and Instagram. So they don't want to ask these. They don't want to ask these questions and push too hard. It's the most important issue that affects every single one of you. Right now, if you search this show, Steven Crowder, Change My Mind, Abortion, you will find something else, likely from News Corp or PBS. That's why, by the way, head on over to Rumble, loudearthcrowder.com/MugClub. We do not take a dime on YouTube from advertisers there. We can't. And we chose not to. We can't. No. We were allowed to at one point, and we said, you know what? No, we're not going to self-censor.
No.
That's all they get? The most important issue of our time. Imagine right now if you were to go out into a town square before the internet, and if you were to start speaking and they arrested every single one of you. That's what's happening with big tech. And they get one question and then move on to the CCP. There is no issue that is more important. You lose your voice, you lose everything. My God, Fox News.
So the answer is I have a radical idea for the Republican Party. We need to win elections. And part of how we win elections is reaching the next generation of young Americans where they are. So when I get into office, I've been very clear. Kids under the age of 16 should not be using
Learn how to
addictive
steal 'em like the
social
other
media.
kid.
We're only going to ever get to declaring independence from China, which I favor, if we actually win. So while the Democrats are running rampant, reaching the next generation 3-1, there's exactly one person in the Republican Party which talks a big game about reaching young people, and that's me. And let me level with all of you. I'm the new guy
Did you just say
here.
I talk a big game?
Yeah, he kind of.
That's not a positive. That's like, there's one person here who lies
you
through his
back it up.
teeth.
That's right.
And that's me.
Bit of a know-it-all, it seems at times. I'm here to tell you, no, I
You
don't.
didn't lose the last
I
election,
will listen.
okay? Do they all believe you lost?
Best people, the best and brightest in this country, whatever age they are,
No.
advising me.
No.
We will be probably many of the people on this stage
No,
included.
stop
That's how I
trying to
built my
reach out to
companies.
these
I wanted to
people. They hate
challenge-
you.
I want
And you
Stop it.
can't reach out to them unless you change section to. Look, this is the rigged game. And I'm telling you this with conservatives across the board. They don't want to run because if you talk about 230, you end up like us, where you end up on Rumble and you end up being suspended on YouTube and demonetized, and it's a game of cat and mouse. All of them want those dollar bills from big tech. And until any of them grow the balls to speak up against it, it is a rigged game, and it is professional wrestling. It is kabuki theater. That is the most important issue, period. And all of them have sidestepped. Is it me?
No.
Except for
Yeah.
Trump, and he's crushing
Well,
it.
yeah, exactly.
So there you go.
Nikki Haley, let's see.
That means they can get your contacts, they can get your financial information, they can get your emails, they can
Let me
get
just say,
text messages, they can get all of
this
these
is important.
things.
This is
Talking
very
about the
important
Hilton
for our
example.
Just say
party.
it. Just say
This is
it.
very
And
important for
what
our
we've
party, and
seen
I'm going to
is
say it.
you've gone and you've
We
helped
should
say
China
it.
build make
He's Indian,
medicines
love
in
those
China,
index
not
fingers.
America.
Excuse
You're
me.
now wanting kids to go and
Vivek
get on
is
the
imploding
social
before
media
our eyes, and I'm okay
dangerous
with
for
it.
all
That's
of
who he is.
You and you were in business
But he's
with the
performing
Chinese, they
horribly
gave
right now.
Biden $5 million. We can't trust you. We
So
can't
let me-
trust you.
let
we
me say
can't have
something.
TikTok in
I
our kids'
think that
lives.
this is
We
very
need to ban.
important.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you have
Let me say
15
something.
seconds.
Let me talk to this Indian bitch.
You have 15 seconds, Mr. Ramaswamy.
Thank you.
All of those people, and the same people. But it's a revolving door.
All right.
See what Ron has to say.
Our own
Governor
country
DeSantis.
is being invaded. We don't even have
That's
control
the
of
number
our
one
own territory. We have got to defend the American people before we even worry about all these other things. And I watch these guys in Washington, D.C., and they don't care about the American people. They don't care about the fentanyl deaths. They don't care about the communities being overrun because of this border. They don't care about the Mexican drug cartels. So as Commander-in-Chief, I will defend this country's sovereignty.
He's been pretty strong on
He's
this.
absolutely right about that. That's the
He's
number
been
one
very
issue.
strong there. Yeah.
Who cares about the economy if you don't have a country?
He's done more on the immigration issue than probably anyone on that stage, and so he has a leg to stand on.
Right.
Yep.
It is a loan. It is not 90% of the money that we send over there is loan. Well, we can talk about this, but at the end of the day, 90% of the money that we send over there is actually in the form of a loan. It's not actually not be paid by Ukraine. It's paid by the NATO, our NATO allies.
So I think it's a good topic.
I think it's a really good topic too. But I will say let's debate the fact.
Just say what you want to say, Vivek.
Our
Nobody's going to stop for you.
national vital interest is in degrading the Russian military.
By degrading the Russian military, we actually keep our homeland safer, we keep our troops at home, and we all understand Article 5 of NATO.
We have to level with the American people.
I thought you said something about waiting until you're
Don't listen to them. They didn't wait for you, Vivek.
I'm going to finish I'll be happy to debate
ahead,
this.
and then I'll respond.
I'll look forward to this one right now. So at the end of the day, when you think about the fact that if you want to keep American troops at home, attack on NATO territory would bring us and our troops in. By degrading the Russian military, we reduce, if not eliminate, an attack.
Ukraine is NATO?
No.
Did I miss something?
But NATO has an interest in defending Ukraine, and so
Right.
therefore.
But is Ukraine NATO?
No.
No. Okay.
No. Yeah.
Is not Putin's an evil dictator does not mean that Ukraine is good. This is a country that has banned 11 opposition parties.
A win
that has
for
actually,
Russia is a
that
win
is not
for
Just keep
true.
talking.
We're driving
Here's
Russia-
where
Russia
Haley's
is
Come on, Vivek. This is a strong point for you. These people are so tone deaf on the stage. They don't know the vast majority of Americans do not want money going to Ukraine. Go, Vivek. Go.
The real
Go.
enemy.
Flying
We're
V.
driving
Go,
Russia
Flying V.
further into China's arms. We need a reasonable peace plan to end this, especially this is a country whose president just last week
Vivek,
was
if
hailing
you
a
let
Nazi in
Putin
his own
have
ranks.
Ukraine, that's a green light to China
answer is
to take Taiwan.
We need a
Peace
reasonable
comes
plan
through strength.
Hit another talking point, Mike Pence. Maybe someone will hear you.
And they're not even his talking point. They're from 1980.
Governor Christie, President Biden's first 2 years
Christie
have
said,
brought
"Cookie."
China, Russia, and Iran closer
years.
together. Are we focused too much on Ukraine and not enough on this threat from the New World Order?
No, they're all connected, Stuart. They're all connected. The Chinese are paying for the Russian war in Ukraine. The Iranians are supplying more sophisticated weapons, and so are the North Koreans now as well, with the encouragement of the Chinese. The naivete on this stage from some of these folks is extraordinary. Look, I understand people want to go and talk to Putin. Guess what? So did George W. Bush. So did Barack Obama. So did Donald Trump. And so did Joe Biden when he said a small invasion wouldn't be so bad. Every one of them has been wrong. And the fact of the matter is,
Drinking game rules,
we
just bring them
need
up,
to
keep the audio
say
up.
right now that the Chinese-Russian alliance is something we have to fight against, and we are not going to solve it by going over and cuddling up to Vladimir Putin. Look, Donald Trump said Vladimir Putin was brilliant and a great leader.
Mentioning Trump.
This is
and
the
attacking
person
him.
who is murdering people in his own country, and now not having enough blood, he's now going to Ukraine
Hey,
to
by the
murder
way,
innocent
can
civilians.
we fact check that? I'm pretty sure that Donald Trump said that about Putin. And again, what he did say was that he said Putin is not an idiot. He said Putin is a smart person.
Right.
By the way, Hitler was an evil man. He was a smart man, just to be clear.
Yep.
I would say Stalin, not all that bright. Lenin was pretty bright and an evil person. I'm pretty sure that President Donald Trump said that before Chris Christie supported him, just to be clear. And now he's trying to act as though, I've been a moral continual.
The voice of reason.
You're going to really like, or at least you have experience in it. And we need to talk about America's farmers because there is a foreign policy connection here. The U.S. and China
Here's
are
where
in
they pander to
fierce
farmers and
economic
talk about
competition.
subsidies.
It's hurting American businesses, and there is blowback against American farmers because China then targets them in retaliation. How would you, as president, protect American farmers and ranchers from that kind of retaliation from a foreign government like China?
Well, first of all, we've got the best farmers and ranchers in the world right here in America. If they have a level playing field, they can outcompete anyone in the world. But this is part of the larger issue that we're talking about here, which is we're in a Cold War with China. The Biden administration won't admit that. But we're also in an economic war through what we're doing with agriculture and energy. And we're also in a war with them relative to cyber
Talk about
war.
China
We get
buying up
attacked
American
every
farmland.
day. In North Dakota, every state, every school district, our tribes, all being attacked every day by either China, Russia, Iran, or North Korea. And now we've got a Biden administration whose whole policy is appeasement. They're out there, creating the world, making it less safe. $6 billion they traded for 5 people. They've just now set a price on anyone's head who's a tourist from America, who's a student from America, for kidnapping. If you want more kidnapping, put a price on it. And then they're also helping Iran get to have more closer to nuclear weapon, which pushes all of the Middle East
The problem with being
closer
so
to
far behind and 90% of Americans not knowing who you are, Groucho, is that you have to fit every talking point into every single answer, so he's not able to give one clear, lucid answer.
Right.
He's not wrong in anything he's saying, but it's just too much.
It's getting drowned out because nobody knows who this guy is. And by the way, I want to make sure that we clarify. You said it correctly. Just to give a little bit more context, Donald Trump was talking about when he went into Ukraine and when he went into the eastern part and said, hey, we're just going to go in and we're going to keep the peace. And he's like, wow, that's pretty savvy. That's not talking to his morals. That's talking to his strategy. His strategy worked.
Yeah.
He is where he took Crimea. He's taken vast swaths of eastern Ukraine, and the world hasn't stopped him. I mean, he's paying a price for it, but the guy is smart. The guy is savvy. He's getting what he wants so far. That's what he was referring to.
Mark Zuckerberg's not an idiot, and I think he's evil. I don't know why people feel as though they have to lie about that. Let's watch Miss Pigment.
Quote, scoundrels. Mexico is the United States' most important trade partner and border security. You say you will send special operations to attack the cartels in Mexico. So, this means boots on the ground, drone strikes?
It means special operations. It's how we deal with our terrorists. And what you need to do is understand that Mexico's not being a good partner if we lost 75,000 Americans last year. Mexico's not being a good partner if they're letting the cartels get away with what they're getting away with. What we will do is we will make sure that we send in our special operations and we will take out...
Don't you love how these people... I'm sorry.
Volume.
But we're going to go after China because China is the one sending the fentanyl in the first place. And we will end all normal trade relations until China stops sending fentanyl.
No, you won't.
And then
no, you
we'll
won't.
do the special
That is an absolute lie. You will not do that. I don't care if they're sending over enough to kill 100,000 citizens a day. You will not end relations with China. You're not going to do it.
If you go by body mass of the Chinese, it's 250,000, but yes.
The fact that they were stealing $600 billion.
You notice they try and take everything to fentanyl? That's why it's that whole like, hey.
The boogeyman.
Yeah, it's the sleight of hand. It's like, hey, fentanyl, fentanyl, fentanyl. And so they don't want you to actually look at the fact that they're not answering. Look, someone should just say this. Screw Mexico, okay? We'll talk about the CCP. We'll talk about fentanyl. Mexico doesn't care about you. Their government is corrupt. For crying out loud, these people aren't doing a damn thing. We're not going to work with Mexico until they clean up their own country. And by the way, look at their immigration policies. If you're not a natural-born Mexican citizen, you can't vote. You can't own waterfront property, for crying out loud. They all suck. We're better. That's why we don't do business with them until they start cleaning up their act.
Yeah, and by the way, Mexico, where's your revolution? The cartels are in control of your country. You guys really want a better country? We paid with blood. It sucks, but you have to do it. And by the way, Nikki Haley, I'm sorry. You're not going to send in special forces and solve the problem. We will send in U.S. special forces, and we will take out these cartel leaders. You know how many times we've done that? Do you know how many times the cartel leaders have been taken out?
Well, Chuck Norris and Delta Force 2.
Our special forces aren't the people they have to worry about. It's rival cartel leaders, because there's always another person ready to take over. You would have stopped the problem zero by doing that, but thank you very much for playing this game. I thought you knew foreign policy.
Yeah.
And I don't dislike Nikki Haley. I just think it's a really stupid idea.
She's afraid. She doesn't want her head to end up on a turtle. Let's hear Tim Scott.
Relations Committee, also on the Finance Committee and the Banking Committee. Talk about addressing the issue of fentanyl. I've written the legislation, passed it through the Banking Committee and the Senate that would freeze the assets and sanction the accounts of the Mexican cartels. There are weapons that we have within the arsenal that I was able to get past 23-0 in the.
What do they keep their money right at a regular bank?
Forever.
Cartels have their money at the savings loans.
Yeah, they're not W-2 employees.
No, exactly.
El Chapo keeps his money in Luxembourg.
Yeah. Intelligence that was available.
By the way, I'm sorry, guys. I need a refill because DeSantis kept talking with his thumb.
It's key to making sure that we prevent the next 9/11 from ever happening. Having that experience.
They're planning that right now, by the way. It's in Newark.
Is really important in getting the job
Seriously,
done.
they're here.
It's
at the airport. They're going to take out a Sbarro's.
Well, I think you asked a question about executive
They do that,
experience.
I'll enlist. I love that shit.
You drunken walk
You
conscript.
greasy stereotype, you. Look at
hear
Pence
the fire on
imitating
the
a
stage
president.
tonight. You hear the fire in all of our voices.
channeling
Because Joe
Reagan.
Biden has weakened this
Kiefer
country
Sutherland.
at home
The
and
hair of
abroad.
Steve Martin.
This is a time for those of us that have the experience,
Have a special set of skills.
the tested experience, and a commitment
Oh,
to the
Goose
conservative
bottle right up
agenda
the
that
head.
Ronald Reagan brought forward in this party of a strong national defense, standing with our allies, standing up to our enemies, supporting limited
Well,
government.
it's only for
and
DeSantis,
traditional
but they're all
values.
doing
Need to
it. This is
step
something that
forward.
advisors teach you. They say, don't point because it feels accusatory, so use your thumb like we don't know.
The Indians do it, they point upwards, you know.
They do. They do.
On the
How dare you?
conservative agenda that Ronald
Like the
Reagan
guy.
forward, or whether we're going to follow the siren song
very, very
of
bad man.
populism unmoored to conservative
And now it
principles.
is a
I'm
time-
Mike Pence, you very, very bad VP.
most consistent conservative in this field, and I'm ready to lead America at home and abroad on day
Well,
one.
we're not ready for you to do shit. How about that?
Yeah, once you master the fucking super unleaded, we'll let you know.
decades. Can any of these candidates do the same? We'll take that up when the debate continues.
I have to go pee-pee.
Okay, well, then I guess let's. You know what?
I can wait.
You can. Well,
I can wait.
I think it's time for because the Bidens actually we've gotten word are not watching tonight's debate.
Really?
And you can use the promo code Crowder Debate Night. You get $10 off MugClub. By the way, we will do no more of these if there is no MugClub. So all the free content exists only because of the people who support MugClub. You get Nick's show every day, 5 p.m. You get Brian Callen. You get the Hodge Twins. They're starting their show here in October. You get Alex Jones on Friday. And it allows us to do the kinds of things that would never be permissible on YouTube. Like we always have the inside lane.
We do.
Yeah. The Bidens are not watching tonight's debate.
They are not.
They are doing other things, which brings us to tonight's 7+1.
You forgot Stefan in the chamber.
Oh shoot! My divider and my thing just got broken. Hold on.
7+1 list.
Hold on a
fell
second.
off.
You have your list there.
Nick's got one.
Hold on,
Nick's right there. He's got yours.
He's got a list.
He's
What
holding it in
happened?
your face.
I lost my. Oh right. Okay. This is tonight's 7+1.
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate.
I just broke my whole thing. You know what? By the way, N, I do need this stapled. You need a staple if it's on your. All right, it's a commercial break. Keep the hashtag, keep the lower third up there, Toolman, so people know. This is 7+1 things the Biden family is doing instead during the GOP debate. Number 7, the Biden family is playing Guess Who with the Biden family tree. That's one. 7+1. Number 6, 7+1 things that the Biden family is doing instead of watching the GOP debate. They're busy ignoring their 7th granddaughter. That's number 6.
It's true.
7+1 things the
Takes a lot
Biden
of
family is
time.
doing instead of watching this debate. Number 5, Nick DiPaolo.
Hunter is busy banging his dead brother's widow.
Oh,
Still?
Yummy.
Wow.
Well, you know
Never
what?
stops.
Hey, the refractory period is impressive.
Smell.
Gerald, 7+1 things the Biden family is doing during the GOP debate. Number 4.
Filling out ballots for 2024.
Oh, well, that makes sense. That's the
Time-consuming,
hanging crack pipe Chad. Number 3, Joe is dragging his ass across the Roosevelt room carpet. So that's... Oh, we can't see here.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Big smile on his face.
7+1 things the Biden family is doing instead of watching the GOP debate. Number 2, Nick DiPaolo.
Surprise gifting Zelensky this F-35.
You mean the one?
Oh, come on now. That's a nice surprise.
It's his birthday? I didn't know.
Like a Lexus commercial.
It's fantastic.
And the number one thing the Biden family is doing instead of watching this GOP debate, number 1, is posing for a family portrait. Nude. That's it's family.
Oh, my God.
Family zip ties.
Your boobs are huge.
What the Did he just come out of a coal mine?
I don't know.
Well,
What was that great?
It's the October sky.
we're just
Family.
making sure.
Damn it, Homer.
Mosaic blur.
Ah,
Just making
mamacita.
sure.
And actually, the +1 of what the Biden family is doing instead of watching the GOP debate, Nick DiPaolo, the +1.
Jill is setting Joe up with a hungry man dinner in front of the TV while she sneaks up to the Lincoln bedroom to masturbate to a painting of Paul Pelosi that she purchased from her son Hunter for $1,200.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. That's a mouthful. That is a.
Boy.
That's been. You wrote that.
I know I did.
That's been tonight's 7+1.
I was going to say.
You forgot Stefan in the chamber.
Gee.
All
Ooh,
right,
that
I know you have
brings
to go
back
to the
bad
bathroom.
memories.
Do we have time for a short break?
I think we probably do. Can you hook us up over there, Toolman? Got some fun stuff.
Let's
for
do
our
a
audience?
short break as they recongregate for the debate.
Yeah, I'll get a minute.
Well, go ahead. I can take care of this.
All right, you want me to go?
Yeah. You
Okay,
get out
I'll
of
go,
here.
and then you
Take
go to the
a break.
bathroom.
We'll take
once
a
we
break
get
in
the
phases.
yeah, hold on a second. I have to staple this. Once we get
We have people at work. Let's play it.
No, not right now. Debate's back on. We
All right,
told them
debate's
they
back
would
on.
miss the debate.
Oh, you missed it. Okay.
Volume.
We're here in California, where gas is nearing $6 a gallon. Oil is close to $100 a barrel again. You say, drill, baby, drill. But the courts won't let you. Mr. Ramaswamy, how would you bring down prices
no H.
without immediate drilling?
Well, look, I think that we do have to run through the courts and get through that administrative state to make sure we're using the natural resources here at home. But here's the other thing that we can do that's easy.
Forever, Mr. Ramaswamy.
And it addresses the national debt as well as brings down prices. put people back to work. We
By
are
drilling.
using taxpayer money to pay people more to stay at home than to go to work. That is wrong. That contributes to our supply chain crisis. It contributes to inflation. That's the easiest way to unlock this economy. And here's the other thing. We have to put the Federal Reserve back in its place. This is an agency that has gone rogue. So in January 2026, when I have the opportunity as your next commander-in-chief, we will have a new chairman of the Federal Reserve who places priority on dollar stability, and then most importantly, send packing 75% of the administrative state, reduce the federal
25?
employee headcount by 75%, rescind 50% of unconstitutional federal regulations that are shackling businesses both large and small. I've offered a very clear, practical plan to do it. That's how we unleash the economy. That's how we revive the integrity
asked you about
of a
gas prices, Vivek.
constitutional republic.
I'm getting to it.
Rather than this technocracy and aristocracy in the administrative state.
I ran out of time.
All right, Pence. I don't know how to pump gas, so I feel qualified.
Yeah, go on to the next person, please.
Was in just a few short years. We achieved.
I yield back my time.
We became
Pence is like, taxes are higher than Vivek's hair.
in 75 years.
Donald Trump did that, sir.
What did he just say to get a round of applause?
We did something in the first time in 75 years. Donald Trump did.
Because when Joe Biden ran for president, he said he was going to end fossil fuels.
Then he realized he was a fossil himself. And stopped that.
By the way, he did it with an executive order on the Keystone Pipeline on day one. Why are you guys using the regulatory system when he's using
That's not the
pen?
one we blew up, right? That was
That's a different one. And it's conjecture.
I have a plan that actually would not only reclaim energy independence, but in 2006, America lost our position as the leading energy producer on Earth. I believe in the next 10 years, with the right policies and experienced leadership in the White House, we can reclaim our role as the leading energy producer on Earth, and that'll grow the American economy for generations to come.
You turn your back on Trump, suck it.
To that, please. The person who's leading an energy state, could I answer the energy question?
No.
So, the first thing I'll say is what I saw at the United Nations is energy security is national security. We need a president that understands we have to partner with our producers and make sure that we have their backs. What you don't need is a president who is against energy independence. Ron DeSantis is against fracking. He's against drilling. He's been against.
What, President Lance Armstrong?
Oh, I stumbled. I meant to say balls.
On day one, you better
Look at
watch out,
DeSantis.
because
He's
what
laughing like a
happens on
schoolgirl.
Day two is when you're in trouble. Day
He goes,
two.
I can't believe this bitch is on stage.
Fracking, you banned offshore drilling, you
What's
did
he
it
doing?
on federal lands, and you took green subsidies that you didn't have to take.
Governor DeSantis, you were
It is
mentioned.
true.
You have the
Look at
right to
day two.
respond. 30 seconds.
Yeah,
He punches
I just did a plan out in West Texas for American energy dominance. We're going to choose Midland over Moscow. We're going to choose the Marcellus over the Mullahs, and we're going to choose Bakken over Beijing, and we are going to lower your gas prices. We are going to get that job done because it's important for our national security, it's important for jobs, and that's one of the best ways to drive down inflation.
Governor DeSantis. Governor DeSantis.
So this is the only answer to that because this is
Governor
ridiculous.
DeSantis,
The
this
answer
question-
specifically. Our voters enacted a constitutional
You
amendment
banned it before
that
they
doesn't
voted.
allow. No, it's not true.
You banned it before they voted, and not only that, fracking wasn't. They didn't vote on
She's totally
fracking.
wrong. They voted it
Check
in.
it.
Men are
That's what
talking
we did.
here.
Onshore, we do it in Florida. We don't have as much as maybe West Texas, but we do it. But that was a constitutional amendment. So that's just wrong. And let's just get real here. My plan will get the job done. We are going to be energy dominant, and that's what's going to happen.
And the voters didn't even vote on fracking.
Nikki, you're in your
You banned
We are
fracking.
moving on with this question for Governor DeSantis. Governor,
As the only leader of an
excuse
energy
me,
state-
we cannot talk over each
Shut up,
other.
Bergen.
We must respect each other's time. My apologies for that.
I'm ready, Stuart.
Governor DeSantis.
Well, the moderator
this is
didn't shush the audience, but they shushed the candidates. So drink. Bring up the drinking game rules while the debate continues.
But you say
They told me I
colleges
needed powder
should be
because I
on
was
the
shiny.
hook
No.
when graduates
You'd think I
cannot
was
pay their
Sicilian.
debt. How does that address the cost of college? How does that the cost of college itself?
Because the colleges are going to have to make a decision. Do we expand the gender studies department, knowing some of those graduates may not have great learning opportunities? No, they're going to focus on
Job
the things that really
opportunities,
matter.
Good.
They're going
Get
to make different
snippy.
choices.
Get
They're gonna
mad.
People in 4 years. I also just want to come back to something Dana asked last segment about 9/11, because I was just at the 9/11 memorial with the families. My wife and I were by. It's very touching
I got
to be
caught
there,
peeing
and it
in the
affected
fountain.
my life
Listen,
because I ended up joining the
It wasn't me. It was a
3
setup.
dicks and a fountain.
blue-collar kid,
Each one seeking
minimum
happiness.
wage in Dunedin, Florida. I end up getting through Yale and Harvard Law School and somehow came out more conservative than when I went in, and that is not easy to do. Had a lot of opportunities to make money, but I wanted to serve, and I'll never forget coming back on the plane from Iraq, landing in Coronado, California, North Island, and feeling that breeze off the Pacific Ocean and say, you know what? I am lucky to have been born an American, and I think being able to serve, and I'll be the first president elected since 1988 who's actually served overseas in a war, I think that's going to help me as commander-in-chief to know how you see these issues.
He is having a good night.
There are real lives at stake for people that wear the uniform.
And we know that Governor Haley.
But the media is going to
the
media is going to remember his attack on Trump, and now he's on that track.
Yes.
That is your track now, DeSantis. You are at war with Trump.
Congress is at a mere 19%. If this were a business, you'd probably all be fired in Washington.
Who's
but
that
you're here
fishing
tonight
lure
looking
sitting
for
behind
a
her?
promotion.
Yeah.
In 2013, Governor Haley hired you for the Senate.
Striped
I'd
bass.
like you to tell her why you should be promoted to CEO of the nation instead of her.
Certainly. One of the things I'd say is if you look at our national debt of $33 trillion, I would love to have an opportunity to have this country pass a balanced budget amendment.
No, that won't happen.
Would
So what else?
constrain the spending in Washington.
Come on, that falls on deaf ears. A black guy not wanting to spend.
Number one. Number two, if you want to actually reduce our national debt, you have to grow our economy.
I call my plan the Allen Iverson plan.
Andre Rison as well.
Civic sectors, number one, the energy sector. We could create between 3 and 3.5.
What if as he looks at her, they just brought up
These
were made in America.
$1.7 trillion. We brought the
Wonderful
unemployment rate
squeeze
for
in
African
America.
Americans, Hispanics, and Asians to the lowest level
was waiting
in
for
the
the second
history of the country, and a
Ray Rice.
70-year low for women.
Adrian Rice was, I don't know who.
Adrian Peterson's the guy who's whipped
this kid.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, you're
appreciate
confusing
Tim.
your
We've known
good
each other
black
a long
dads.
time, but he's been there 12 years and he hasn't done any of that. He hasn't. They've only given
Pardon me,
4
lady?
budgets on
Even in the
time
kitchen
before
12 years, you have yet to make a good pot roast.
I said, bitch.
Maybe come over there and tan your Indian ass.
Make sure that the borders are open and they
for a
haven't done
gas
anything.
tax
Look at
increase
everything.
in
Look at the diversity. Do you see what it does? See what diversity does? It brings us together. Give me 4 fucking pasty white guys in their 90s up there. 4? I mean 7. How many's up there?
Ron, let me finish
All
this.
these guys have said
Oh,
they're
folks,
saying,
I'm teasing.
and I appreciate a lot of the things they're saying.
Nikki
I'm the
Haley-
only one up here who's
I'm the only one
gotten
up
in
here.
the
Sounds
big
like Paul Lynn.
fights and
Does
has
mug smell
delivered
like fish
big
to you?
victories for the people of Florida.
Wait a minute.
And
No, I'm
that's
serious.
what it's all about.
It has a fishy
You can
smell, doesn't
always talk, but when it gets hot in there, when they're shooting arrows at you, are you going to be stand up for
Joe
parents'
Lewis.
rights, to keep the state free? Are you going to be able to do all those things? And in
Joey,
the state of Florida,
like a
because
bacon.
of our
I wanna go
success,
out.
the Democratic Party lies in ruins. We have
He's
won
just
the
like,
big
I
fights.
don't want it.
We
I
have
want to get
turned our
out.
state into
They've got food.
state. People respond
can't
to
believe what
leadership.
DeSantis is saying
I've
right
done it while others have talked
Oh,
about
come
it.
here, Joe.
We actually have a CEO of the White House, which is what I think we need. If I may just briefly interject here, we need a zero-based budgeting. That's the way businesses are actually run. Start with 0 as the baseline for the budget, and then see what's actually necessary. There isn't a blue state or a red state in this union that does it. The federal government doesn't do it, but successful companies, including the ones that I've built as a CEO, will do it. And I think we need a CEO in the White House to get that done.
Governor Burgum runs a state that way. Yes.
Can I,
Can I
the only guy
please?
that's
I'm
been
still
in
here,
charge. You have
guys.
Energy questions you don't ask
Dana
anything,
keeps
but I'm
letting
just
him
gonna
in. What's going on there?
You say nobody else has done it. The energy
She likes the
plans
silver
that have all
fox.
been
She's not
announced in
quite
the last
silver yet,
month
though.
by these other folks on stage, we're already
Let
doing
him
it in
use
North
the
Dakota.
eyebrow pencil.
The border plans they're already talking about. We've got troops down at the border flying helicopter missions from North Dakota, from San Diego to the Gulf Coast,
North Dakota.
trying to stop transnational criminal
You just said
organizations
Gulf
from
Coast.
inflicting the invasion
Guys
and the
got Ed
mass
As in his
chaos
eyebrows back in the
in our
70s.
state.
Yeah,
And
he has
on
the
energy
lips of the
policy,
equator.
we're already doing it. It's not saying when nobody else done the big fights. North Dakota was leading the charge. We won the battle to get the Biden administration, who was ignoring the law. They were the first administration since Truman that wasn't holding the fully required lease sales, and we won that in federal court. WOTUS, we won that in federal court. We're fighting the Biden administration on 20 fronts. To say that nobody's fighting the big fights, just look at the record of what we're doing right now. Energy, economy, national security, have been talking about it since day one, and now finally, good, we're having the conversation about it, but we've got the answer.
Canadians out.
You're having it with yourself.
Do the job.
Big government. This
It's the second round of applause tonight.
Big government keeps getting bigger.
Bigger.
1/5 of all new jobs
And
this
Christy,
year have been
so
created
do you.
by the government. Governor Burgum, you say you want to shrink the size of government. But it has been a century since any president has
That's a
done
scary
that.
smile.
Why would you be any different?
Like he's trying to lower kids into the back of a van.
We've done it in North Dakota.
Yeah,
when I took office, we shrunk the state budget general fund by 27% in the first 4 months I was office, and we all the trains still running on time. Why? Because
if they lock them in there.
Inside of every government job, there's 10 or 20% of mind-numbing, soul-sucking work that even the state and federal employees don't want to do. And you
Don't
could
say
engineer that work
soul-sucking
out
when
of
you
the
look
job.
like
That would
that.
free up right there 20% of
Soul-sucking.
2 million civilian employees. And by the way, we've got 10 million
By
jobs
the
open.
way,
They'd have plenty
the
to do.
only way
They
he could be creepier is if he said, "Look into my eye."
Yeah.
totally possible to do it if you have somebody that understands. Because having worked in technology
Third
for
round of
30
applause.
years, everything we had to do
It
was
does
to be
seem like they've rigged this a little bit. Like
Yeah.
they want to make it seem as though this guy
is relevant.
And I'm sure he's a nice guy, but
I
let's
don't
be
know
honest.
if that's applause or Chris Christie's stomach's hitting her mic. I keep hearing.
This election could come down to less than
Dana, I don't know how to
50,000
decrease the size of anything. Let's just be honest.
Abortion
I'm
was on
talking
the
to you.
ballot in
You know,
6
kids.
states in 2022.
Dana just starts orbiting him.
Abortion will likely be on the ballot in Arizona. That is a must-win state. Governor DeSantis, how are you going to win over independent, pro-choice?
What is with DeSantis' face? It's like he doesn't know when to smile, grin. Let's watch.
In victory in a governor's race in the history of the state, over 1.5 million votes. We were winning places like Miami-Dade County, Palm Beach, that nobody thought was possible because we were leading with purpose and conviction. I reject this idea that pro-lifers are to blame for midterm defeats. I think there's other reasons for that. The former president, he's missing in action tonight. He's had a lot to say about that.
there you go
He
again.
should be here explaining
Trump,
his
drink.
comments to try to say that pro-life protections are
Ron.
somehow a terrible
I don't think you want to pick that fight.
Actually, I think this is a good entry point if he's going to.
He is, but I just think he's going to get beat.
He's put himself. Look, guys, you can comment below, and again, hit the like if you're watching on Rumble or on YouTube. It helps with the algorithm. The drinking game has done its number. This is one of. I just think he's put himself on a one-way track now. He has to be at war with Trump, which is not the best thing to do with someone who has a double-digit lead. I think that'll hurt him.
Supporting abortion all the way up until the moment of birth. That is infanticide, and that is wrong.
Call it what it is.
Governor Christie. Governor Christie, do you think that
Have you eaten children, Governor Christie? Tell
do you
us.
think
Police report says 4.
He goes
do that in Arizona?
up to 3 months. They're very tender after that.
Yeah, because I did it in New Jersey, Dana.
Then why are all these other states losing?
Well, because they don't have leaders in those states who are leading the fight the way it should be led.
This guy talks like he's a successful governor.
I was a governor here of the only blue state that's represented up here. This is where the fight is really tough for
That's why we don't
Republicans.
believe
And those
you.
are the states that we're going to have to try to win if we're going to win the White House back. And what we did is 14 times, Dana, in 8 years, I vetoed Planned Parenthood funding. 14 times. No one else gets it that much. The Democrats just kept sending it to me, and I kept saying no because I believe in life, but I also believe in states' rights. And I think we fought hard against Roe versus Wade for decades to say that states should make these decisions. So we're going to have those fights in the states. But what you need is a leader who can talk to people and make them understand that if you're pro-life,
Yeah, we do, but you're
you
not
have
it.
to be pro-life for the entire life, not just the 9 months in the womb.
Oh, this is a liberal
And we swapped
talking
a-
point. Public education, subsidized health care. Are you pro-life? This is why you don't trust him. Right away, he's using a liberal bumper sticker. I'm pro-life after they're born, which means taxpayer subsidized education, taxpayer subsidized health care, taxpayer subsidized daycare. That's what they do. Are you pro-life? Well, then you have to pay for everything ever.
If you got elected in New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, you're not a friggin' Republican.
70% of independents and 51% of Latinos because I told them the truth from my heart.
Thank you.
Vice President Pence.
By the way, Alex Jones coming up as a recap after this, and this lady is attractive. I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely.
Doesn't care about or
With
is
that
being
weird,
hostile
with that
toward
weird
them.
reverse mole.
The Hispanic community. Only
Oh,
Governor
what the-
DeSantis has
it's a nicotine
translated his
patch.
campaign into Spanish.
The
How
hell
will
is that?
you reach out to Latino voters?
Referencing all night. You didn't see it?
Well,
I
I promise
block
you
stuff
that we're
out
going
like
to
it's
continue to
hateful.
build bridges to every
Type of
community
hurtful talk.
in this country. And I'm incredibly proud of that tax cut and tax reform bill. I worked on Capitol Hill to help get that bill passed into law, the largest tax cut in American history. We saw literally the lowest unemployment ever recorded for Hispanic Americans, the lowest unemployment ever recorded for African Americans, 50-year low
He says
for
we.
women.
He
So I think
means
the President of the
no.
United States needs to be a
These
champion
talking
for
points are
the
correct
American
when he's
dream for
discussing the
every
successes.
American.
But then he wants to distance himself from Trump when it's convenient.
That's right.
That's why no one trusts you. You're right.
That's right.
Record low unemployment for Latinos. Record low unemployment for African Americans. But who did it? Who did it?
Who was at the top?
Let me hear you say we turned our back on Trump.
Yes.
Exactly.
Americans, so help me God.
Senator Scott, reaction?
Hey, don't bring him into this.
Yeah, he's going to hit you with a lightning bolt.
If you lead by example,
Zeus.
it's the best way to get the job done. If you look at my
good guy,
office in the Senate, my chief of staff is the only Hispanic female chief of staff in the Senate.
I don't want to hear about that anymore.
I don't care.
I'm tired. Seriously, I'm fucking done with it.
Moderator just goes, thank you.
First this, that. Jesus H. Christ.
Muchas gracias.
To finish my conversation with Nikki,
Didn't know he had a
as it
middle
relates to
name.
the job that needs to get done. Nikki
Damn it. Gosh
offered
darn
a
it.
10%.
Every time I look at Gerald, I see God staring.
Someone who has never seen a federal dollar.
We need a portrait of Nick as David and Gerald.
in South Carolina.
And it's more like,
as UN ambassador. You literally
Bring it,
put
Tim.
$50,000 on curtains.
Don't say that to a black man.
And a $15 million subsidized
step to
location.
this, Tim.
Bring it.
Next.
You got bad information. First of all, I fought the gas tax in South
goes,
Carolina
bullshit. I got it from
multiple
BT.
times against the
Just go to
establishment.
just go to YouTube.
Against
Right.
the establishment.
Just go to
And you
YouTube
want
and
to
see
know
for
what that
yourself.
10 cent was?
What if you
When
just
they
said bring it and he just went SEOTT, man?
I said the only way I will
Here's
pass
what you
it
have to
if
do.
you
All
will
you
give
Hey,
me three.
bitch,
All
get
you
off my
have to
wow.
do is
You don't know me and you don't know my style.
If you will give me
She's like, what's
three,
happening?
He's like,
the deduction in income
Here I am,
tax,
here I
then
am,
will
the
look
Tim
at
Scott man.
didn't
You would
happen.
pass.
Secondly,
Exactly, Ron.
secondly, on the 50
Here's-
oh, she's mad.
Here is a nice
Big
one.
mad.
Secondly, on the curtains,
I love
do
diversity.
your homework, Tim, because Obama bought those curtains.
Did you send them back?
It's in the press.
Did you send them back?
It's the State Department.
you send them
Did
back?
you send them back?
He's doing a black thing where he repeats the same line. Did you send him back? Did you send him back?
You hung him up. You
Did you
like
send him
these
back?
guys. You like these
World star.
You are
Here's a-
scrapping.
here's
You
a-
are scrapping.
I'm not
Excuse me.
Scraping. He's
Scrapping.
Scraping. He is scrapping, and you're not fighting back. You meant to say scraping.
A gas tax increase.
Just ask her how much your outfit costs. Seriously, every time she brings up fiscal, whatever.
We're about to take a
Raising his
commercial
hand.
break. We'll
We'll
have
take a
more
little
of the
break.
second Republican debate live from the Reagan presidential
We're going to
library
take a
in
commercial
just a few
break while I
moments.
show you the overvalued $18 million Mar-a-Lago estate. By the way, that was a story that came out where the judge said that Donald Trump overvaluated his assets,
Yeah.
$18 million,
Yeah.
the Mar-a-Lago estate.
Yeah.
Can someone bring up the
We had
adjacent
it.
properties that are also worth $18 million?
18 to 40.
They're less than an acre.
Right.
Mar-a-Lago is 20
0.28
acres.
acres.
In case you didn't understand that the justice system is rigged,
Totally
it's not
rigged.
white, black, it's not rich, poor. It really is a system of rigged against your ideas. You have the wrong ideas, you are guilty of wrongthink, and you can have a judge rule against you. The idea that Mar-a-Lago, 20 acres, right on the waterfront there in Florida,
Right.
is worth less than $18 million. That is a political hit job, the likes of which, and this is the thing,
Did you see
just
the
dismiss
judge?
it. It's so stupid.
Did you see the picture of the judge, though?
Does she have
No.
blue hair and a
No,
nose
it's a
ring?
guy. It's a guy. It looked like David Brenner with a gray. You could tell this guy was a pot-smoking scumbag, fucking left-wing jerk-off. Who, seriously.
Victor Paolo, 5 p.m. on MugClub every day.
You could
more of that.
Honestly. I stole that from Meet the Press.
No, I like it. I do.
But no,
I thought you were channeling Chuck
look
Todd.
you can see the hate in his face for Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Just,
There's no justice for here. And by the way, like I said this earlier. I'm not in the bag for anybody. Like, I do support Donald Trump because I think he's the best candidate for the job. I think he will do the best job in the office, and it gives us 4 years plus 8 years, which is 12, which is greater than 8 if somebody gets elected right now as a Republican. Because I don't know who else is out there 8 years from now to run, right? So that's the math that I'm doing right now. I didn't say don't go after Ron DeSantis because Trump supporters are going to now go after Ron DeSantis. Or sorry, don't go after Trump, Ron DeSantis, because the supporters of Trump are going to go after you. It's because Donald Trump will come knocking. You're not ready for him. I'm sorry. You're just not ready.
I am the one who knocks.
He's like, you just, it's like professional wrestling. You hear,
let's do it. Look, Gerald, knock, knock. You suck.
Okay.
You're a pussy. You're a big pussy.
I lead a great
big,
state.
floppy, wet Arby's pussy.
But I'm a governor. You can't tell me that.
Well, I guess you're governor of Arby's. Tastes like throw up. Tastes like throw up. That's what they call them. I would never look, Nick. I would never say this. I would never say. Other people tell me that's Governor Throw Up because he's an Arby's sloppy pussy.
No, but he would say something like that, and then Ron DeSantis is like, "See this guy?" I know, and I'm like, "Yeah, this guy is hilarious." What
Just point with your thumb one more time. You'll get your point across there.
You're right, though. There's only one authentic person in this race, and he's not on stage. That's it. Authenticity. Yeah. None of them have it.
No, and it.
I thought you were saying that because Jesse Waters was on the screen.
I like Jesse.
So here's the thing, too, Vivek. I'm not pro Vivek. I was pro Vivek pushing the rest of them to be more authentic, and he is addressing issues that they were trying to dodge.
Right.
And this entire debate tonight seems like him trying to make friends with everybody else on that stage. It's never going to happen.
By the way,
at the table.
You can comment. How much do you want to bet that Chris Christie's taking monster shit right now? I guarantee you, he's not on that stage.
When they come back, he's gonna have like a 4-foot piece of toilet paper stuck to his shoe and
okay. So just
all sweaty
for some comparison on Mar-a-Lago. So 449 Australian Avenue, Palm Beach, Florida, $18.5 million. Here's what you get. 4 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, and 3,500 square feet. Not exactly 20 acres.
That's the slums of Mar-a-Lago, we call it.
That's $18.5 million.
It's Section 8 Largo.
And by the way, the New York Post, which is sometimes right, lots of times wrong and
usually
douchey, they actually said, everybody around says that's at least a $300 million property, so it's not $18 million. Even those guys are saying it. Come on, everybody knows this is a lie.
All right.
Patrick Bet David actually put in an offer for it. He said, "Look, if it's $18 million, I'll buy 10 right now."
He said, "Look, Mar-a-Lago. Okay, let me put it to you that way, right? Okay, let's say someone's selling that, okay, for $18 million, right? Now I have a problem I got to solve. I got to say, okay, look, I want that." Be 99%, I'd be 99, you'd be 1%. All right, let's go back to the debate.
That's a pretty good Patrick Bet David.
We have to go back to we'll check back with Finnegan a little bit afterward, but
that you're dropping out.
I want to hear Stuart Varney try to pronounce her name again.
On stage tonight should be voted off the island.
Bergam raises his hand.
Please use your marker to write
He
your
puts
choice
out his
on
own
the notepad
torch.
in front of you. 15 seconds.
He goes,
It's been real.
Starting
I got an
of the
audition
people
for
on the
Survivor
stage.
too tomorrow.
Who should be? I'm absolutely serious.
With all due respect, I mean, we're here, like, we're happy to debate, but I think
Oh,
that's
no, not
disrespectful to
me.
my fellow competitors.
Nobody wants to participate.
Mike Pence hasn't said a word.
It's the future of the country.
Mike's like,
I want to be clear
Let me
about
ask you
what's
this.
Here he comes.
we have
with
to
friends
add a
again.
drinking rule for when Vivek points with his index finger.
Oh my God, you'll blow your liver out in
What is
10
your
minutes.
mathematical path,
Yes.
Governor DeSantis, in order to try to beat President Trump, who has a commanding
Drink,
and
mention
enduring
President
lead?
Trump.
I have to take out all these guys.
Polls don't
No way.
elect presidents. Voters elect presidents. And we're going to take the case of the people in these
What do you
early
mean?
states. We're going to do it in a state-by-state
Les
direction.
Waleka, I got
And
two words
why?
here.
Because as
Les
Reagan
Waleka.
said
You know
in his
about that.
day,
You were
this
dancing on
is
one
our
recently,
time
right?
for
Les
union.
Waleka.
We
Hey,
are not
that's not
getting a
fair.
mulligan on the 2024 election. Republicans have lost 3 straight elections in a row. We were supposed to have a red wave with inflation at 9%. It crashed and burned. Not in Florida, it didn't. We delivered it in Florida. And so we've got to choose right. We've got to win. And we need somebody that's going to be able to serve 2 terms. So in
With giant
January of
ears.
2023, they'll be able to address the nation
what him
saying,
worry.
we turned the economy around, we secured the border, and we fended off the threat from communist China. As your president, I will get that job.
And you can thank the Cubans.
I believe I did see you
Not
write
the Puerto Ricans.
something. Governor Christie, I believe, excuse me, Governor Christie, I believe I did see you write something on the card.
No.
That was my dinner.
I'll tell you.
I wrote second lunch.
I think I've been the only one on the stage who's been clear about this.
Look
I
at
vote
this
Donald
guy.
Trump
Doodling
off the
a Big
island
Mac.
right now. And the reason I vote him off the island
Because he has too big of a lead. Can't beat him.
No, because you know what? Every person on this stage.
I
has
voted
shown
her off the
respect
island. There's not enough
for
meat on the
Republican
bones.
voters to come here
I'd eat her
to
last
express their
if I were
views honestly,
stuck in the Andes.
candidly, and directly, and to take your questions
Hey, Chris.
honestly. I have respect for
He did it for 4 years. What do you not know about Donald Trump?
Exactly.
I know.
Thank you.
This guy's a liberal. Let's be honest.
He is.
I still got time, dude. So chill out.
Well, depending. If we're talking about your
You need
lifespan.
to say, dude.
This guy
talking to
has
Vivek.
not
say,
only
dude?
divided our party. He's divided
You don't
families
call me dude.
all
You
over
don't
this
damn it
country.
call me dude.
He's divided friends all over this country.
How dare you?
I've spoken to people, and I know everyone else has, who have sat at Thanksgiving dinner
Saying,
or
"Will
at
you
my
get your
party
hands off
and
the
can't
turkey, you
have a
fat fuck?"
conversation anymore.
We're
if
hungry
they
too.
disagree with Donald Trump. He needs to be voted off the island, and he needs to be taken.
The turkey was dry, and
15 seconds.
Look, I have a different view on this. I think Trump was an excellent president.
Yep.
But the America
Mention
First
Trump
agenda
drink.
does not belong to one man. It does not belong to Donald Trump. It doesn't belong to me.
I got refills
It
coming.
belongs to you, the people of this country. And the question is, who's going to unite this country and take the America First agenda to the next level? When we rallied behind the cry to make America great again, we did not just hunger for a
Christie
single
said,
man.
"Rallies?
We hungered
That's
for
the
the
Midwestern,
unapologetic
Jane."
pursuit of excellence. So yes,
Your
I
15
will
seconds are
respect
up.
Donald Trump and his legacy because it's the right thing to
I
do.
think
That's a good
This
approach.
is a good approach. Absolutely.
To take the America First agenda to the next level, and that will take a different generation to
does
do
it.
it.
For that
Go.
does
West
it.
Punjab.
I repeat, that does it for the second Republican
that's
primary
it?
debate live from the Ronald Reagan.
Wait, hold on.
presidential
Is that it?
Thank you to
Think
all the
that's it?
candidates. We
That's
love
it.
having you
10
here
o'clock.
tonight, and we will see you out
Or
on the campaign
11.
trail.
Have a great evening. Thank you for joining us.
Have a great
everyone.
evening. The evening's not 4 syllables. Go ahead, Nick. You can use the restroom. Before we bring on Alex Jones, I know he's been a trooper, absolutely. 5 p.m. Eastern every day. Before we go to Alex Jones, I know we're going to have him on here, and then we're going to go to your chats. I believe that we do have Finnegan. Hopefully he finally
can
got
check
to the
in.
right place.
Yeah, hopefully.
One moment, folks. Let me go now to our on-the-ground correspondent, Thomas Finnegan. What? Where the hell are you?
Hi, Stephen.
You're not at the GOP debate. That's not where you are.
I'm pretty sure I am.
No, you're at a bait and tackle shop. That's what I'm seeing right behind you.
You told me to get to the bait. This was the closest one.
I told you to get to the GOP debate. You were at Goop. Now you're at a bait and tackle shop. What is happening?
No, I can't. They make me feel all oogie.
Are you talking about worms? I don't even know. Just go. Have a good night. Just. Son of a. I don't know why we have him on retainer. All right, we have Kellyanne Conway. I guess we're doing. This kind of still has something in there, so we might need to empty it out because.
Ugh, this debate.
1 second here, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, they're all walking into the spin room to give their triumphant speeches to act like whatever happened on the stage didn't actually happen so they can clip it and put it on social media. But this debate had some clear winners and losers. Bergrum got a little bit more time than I thought he would. Bergrum?
Drinking game got the best of you.
Bergrum got the best of the rules. No,
You're a hooker? I just thought I was doing well with you.
Bergrum.
Where's my drink?
He did well, but
You just ordered it.
That's always their excuse.
Shut up.
Oh, it's okay. Fox News screwed me too.
Oh, jeez. Bergum got a little bit more time than I thought. Tim Scott got more time than I thought, and everybody spoke over Vivek.
Don't you hate Nikki Haley?
I don't really like her, but I don't dislike her. I think she's reasonable in a lot of ways.
People
but
can name that movie line.
I hated her answer
was
on
terrible.
Mexico, at least the first part, because Ginger Snap's telling me that the rest of her answer was actually pretty decent, and I'm like, well, I couldn't hear it after I was seeing red for the first part of the answer where she was lying through her teeth. But honestly, like this was a make or break for some of these guys. I think Pence didn't resonate with anybody other than the 85
Pence
plus
is the
audience.
worst. It's not even close.
Yeah, he was absolutely the worst. Burgum did much better than him.
Christie was
did
pretty
better.
bad. I will say this. If I were to pick a standout tonight, and you guys can comment below, let's take a poll. We'll go to your chat when we go to the Mug Club exclusive portion. Tim Scott. I think Tim Scott, I'm not saying that he did outstandingly well, but I think for him, he did what he needed to do to sort of, to warrant being on the shows, to warrant doing the circuit.
Another
I don't think he'll survive. I think he
Round
kind of
or
had a
two.
moment here today where I think he'll probably be thrust in front of the pack a little bit. I think he had a little bit more passion. I think he got in there. I think he allowed people to see who he was a little bit. And this right there, this picture on Fox News, if you can bring it up there, Toolman.
Now.
That's why people don't trust politicians. Chris Christie and Ron DeSantis shaking hands and laughing. And people are going, wait, hold on a second. We know that Chris Christie is a leftist. We know that he's a liberal sympathizer, and Ron DeSantis seems to be good buddies with him. People don't want someone who's miscongeniality. They want someone who is going to fight for them.
Right.
That's the takeaway.
Yeah, every single time. And I think DeSantis had some very good moments, whereas last time I didn't really think he had any good moments at all. I thought his debate was terrible. He came off incredibly stale. I think there were some moments that he actually looked bad again. He's still got to clean that up, but he had much more positive moments than he did last time. But we do have Mr. Alex Jones on the line to give us his thoughts whenever you are ready to go to.
Well, first off, again, it's the promo code Crowder Debate Night. That gives you $10 off, ladderwithcrowder.com/MugClub. And when you join MugClub, that means that you get Alex Jones's completely unfiltered Friday show every single week. It is scary to think about.
I love it.
What's funny is that it's not really that scary when you tune in and watch it.
Oh, yeah.
It's completely reasonable.
You do it with a friend.
Don't allow the media to tell you who Alex Jones is. Make up your own mind. Sorry, did we...
Let Alex Jones tell you.
Hungry, Nick?
I thought Chris Christie was taking a minute with Hannity.
I kept looking at him. I was getting hungry.
All right, and then I guess we're going to do this, and then we're going to go to Mug Club. Is there anything else that I forgot as far as plugs? Anything?
No. I think we did that. Do we? Well, actually,
How many times did I
we had
get
another sponsor potentially. Do we want to hit Mr. Walther?
Yeah, you know what? Before we bring on Alex Jones, let's do one more. You know, we haven't mentioned them in a long time. The studios here are exclusively protected by Walther. And by the way, I've told you this before in the past. Look, they're attractive. They're smooth. They're merchants of death. They basically sell themselves. Walther Firearms. Just try the Walther, and you will buy it. Try it. You will buy it. They have the balls to sponsor the show. Compare it to anything else out there, whether it's Glock, whether it's SIG, whether it's just take your pick. Everyone who tries it decides, you know what? I'm going to stick with this. A really quick word from our sponsor, Walther, and then Alex Jones.
Oh, I wasn't going to roll the spot.
Why not?
You want me to roll the spot?
Roll the spot.
Roll the spot. Horror films don't work
Now I got to find it.
Hit the spot.
without
that wasn't what I meant.
a Walther. And I just saw a light turn on. Was I dark?
Yeah, I was trying to put the spotlight on the Walther over Nick's shoulder there.
Where?
Yeah.
It's over Nick's left shoulder's.
How about you find the
screen
spot
right.
with the
Yeah, how do
light?
you find the spot instead of
I'm
screwing around with the lights?
Right,
Crying out loud. It's like putting salt in a freshwater fish tank.
all right, I got it.
All right.
Horror movies just don't work when you've got a Walther.
Yeah, well, that was a quick cut.
They really don't.
We're not very smooth tonight.
What was the Walther pistol that we fired at the range? The one
The Walther,
that you had.
well, the PDP.
No. So I've got
the one I have is a special edition, but the PDP is available to everyone, and it's just Google Walther PDP review. It's this. They don't have the money for marketing or giant military contracts, and they have the balls to sponsor this show. You won't find a negative review. Everyone who fires it says, "Oh my God, this is the best gun that I've ever shot in my life." Again, just get something to defend your household, you and yours. But obviously, you know who I line up with. Walther is incredible, unbelievable, and you can't do any better. All right, do we have a stinger?
Got it.
Because we have him here, the man, the OG, to break down the debate, Alex Jones. Why are we using that old Bill Hicks picture of Alex?
He looks so svelte.
All right. Mr. Jones, can you hear me and see me, sir?
I can. I've been watching you guys all night.
Oh, one second. Hold on a second. I can't hear you because we have to put you over the speakers.
That's right. I can hear him. But
go
ahead.
You can hear him? All right. Sorry. Gerald is the only one who can hear you because he has the headphones on.
Headphones on now.
All right. Go ahead, Alex.
That's good. I was going to say, I thought that I looked sinister and non-trustworthy with my Lex Luthor haircut. But let me tell you, you look like the ultimate Mexican drug lord now with that special beard.
He does. What you talking
I'm actually
about, boy?
intimidated by it. I'm actually or like some like Southern kingpin or something. Yes, if you went to Mexico, the women would all be tearing their clothes off and throwing themselves at you. So you're now the Mexican drug lord look. That looks good, Stephen.
I don't even know why I did it. Nick loves it, so he just tells me to do it. So I do it every now and then. Just, I was just trying to try something new. Just like one time I read that, drinking a glass of wine a day is good for your heart. So I started smoking wine-dipped cigars. It didn't work.
That's not.
Alex, of course, people can join up Mug Club. They can listen to your show on MadMaxWorld.tv. But every Friday, completely unfiltered, they get your show on Mug Club. Alex, what were your thoughts on the debate tonight? Who was a standout? What was your takeaway, brother?
Well, let me just say this. I've been covering debates for a long time, doing the live coverage like you do, but I've been watching since it started when I was driving in the car up here to the studio. I was also listening to it, and I really think all the points you made were dead on, and I'd like to make a few comments on the points you guys made, but I basically agree with your analysis. But let's go somewhere that, unless I tuned out for like 5 minutes, when I was taking a piss or whatever and missed some of it, that
5 minutes, Alex.
That's a luck.
Well,
Alex, you have the prostate the size of a volleyball?
It's what they say. When you have a very small penis, you have a small bladder. Or large bladder. When you have a small bladder, you have a large penis.
No,
so I got a very small penis, very large bladder. No, but I was actually taking a dump. The point is, I took a 5-minute break. No, I mean, I'm serious. Actually, I took a phone call and some other stuff, but my point is that I listened to almost all of it and watched almost all of it. And my big takeaway is this. We saw them in the last Democrat primary with Hillary, back in the last real election when Trump won in 2016, totally freeze Bernie Sanders out. And I don't like Bernie Sanders. But clearly, he was winning in a bunch of states. And the Democrats said, we don't care. We have superdelegates that are going to vote in California and other states like New Hampshire for Hillary. So they stole that from him. So even though I hate him, not as much as Hillary, it was wrong to see that done. And so now they've changed the rules even more, where RFK Jr. is being completely blocked out of it. They're not even having Democrat debates.
Right.
And how did we get to this point? So we're having Republican debates, and Trump overshadows them. He gets like 55, 60% of the field. All the rest get like 40, 45%. And so they're kind of the Keebler elves. They're the little Lilliputians, especially since they indicted Trump. It's turned him into a folk hero. Trump's not perfect, but people see through this. And so it's throwing massive support behind Trump. That's why scientific establishment polls that are already, quote, skewed because they sample more Democrats show Trump 10, 15, 20 points, depending on the demographic, in Washington Post, ABC polls against Biden. So their attempt to destroy Trump has made him the juggernaut, made him the Colossus, and everybody else are Lilliputians. But I do think it's healthy to have other people in the field, to have a wide field, to bring in new ideas. That's what this is all about. But because Tulsi Gabbard scared the Democrats 2.5 years ago in the last general election and other things, they've frozen them all out. So no one's talking about no Democrat Party debates. And they've now changed the rules even more, where Biden is basically running unopposed. And that means when he steps down, whoever they replace it with. Now, Roger Stone.
Hey, Alex, can I ask you something really, because you've been covering this for a long time. Like I've said, you're the OG. But some people out there, we have a lot of younger viewers, meaning in their early 20s. They may not know about superdelegates. And I've talked about this before. That is, for the Democrat Party, right, quote unquote, it is one of the least democratic components. Can you explain to, and then continue with your point, but explain to people who may not be familiar with the idea of superdelegates, because that's a huge part of the Democrat Party.
Well, that's right. The oldest party in America is the Democrats. And there was one other party, the Whigs, that went away. And it wasn't until Abraham Lincoln came along with his famous debates running for president, the Republican Party was created. And it was an abolitionist, anti-slavery party. So in the upside down world, people think the Democrats are against slavery, Republicans are for it. It just shows what total quackery all this is. And so the Democrats, in their rules going back 200 years plus, have always had the capacity to rig elections. They've never done it to this extent. But then when Bernie Sanders was winning in a whole bunch of states, including California, we even interviewed a couple of superdelegates when we were in New Hampshire. My reporters, Richard Reeves, it's an incredible clip, got tens of millions of views at the time. And he just walks up and talks to him. He goes, "Oh, I hear you're a superdelegate. You were just talking to CNN." He goes, "Yeah, Bernie's going to get the majority of votes here in California, other states. And I'm a delegate in California. It doesn't matter because we're going to give the votes to Hillary." And then indeed, that's what they did. So it didn't matter. Once the Democrats voted, the party delegates were supposed to honor the votes of the general election in the primary. Right. But that was completely and totally ignored. Now they've changed the rules, and RFK Jr. lays it all out, these speeches he's given, but I've gone and looked at it, it's true, where if he campaigns in Iowa, New Hampshire, a bunch of other key first battleground states, then he's not eligible to be on the ballot. And so the Democratic Party at the DNC, talk about dictatorial, they call the Electoral College bad. Dictatorial is they are allowed to change the rules. And look, I like Trump. I like the fact he's taken over the Republican Party compared to Chris Christie and people, but he's certainly not perfect. The Republicans are now announcing, and it's gotten almost no coverage, that Trump's not just not being part of these debates, which I think he, wisely hasn't been. He's way in the lead. That's okay, in my view. But now Trump has the Republican Party set, I saw this in the news last week in red state, to go and do the same thing Democrats do and have the RNC vote to pull the same shenanigan and basically bypass primaries. So this is very dangerous de-evolution into a two-party and then one-party state. And Senator Josh Hawley has warned of this. A lot of others have.
Right.
The Democrat deep state, and now the Republicans are copying it because, Trump will come, Trump will go. Trump will win, he'll lose, he'll go to prison, he won't. But everything's moving towards total and complete centralization, and it's very, very dangerous. Here's an example.
Okay, and then Gerald has a question for you, but yes, please go.
You know about Canada because you are a dual citizen, if I remember correctly.
Unfortunately,
most Canadians. It's a beautiful country. We need to send you
I've rejected my Canadian citizenship entirely, but yes.
Well, it's not a schmear. Basically, Austin's more liberal than Canada, so let's not bash it.
Okay.
I agree with Tucker Carlson. We should actually invade Canada and free it and make you the president with that mustache. But seriously,
done.
If you look at the charter of Canada, King Charles is actually in control of it. This isn't some weird right-wing, fake thing. This is real.
No.
The King of England, anytime he wants, or his Governor General, can dissolve the Parliament and can install a Parliament in the charter if they want. So it's the same kind of crap. When we can look at that and say, well, that's dictatorial, that's tyrannical. Well, just like the King of England or the Queen of England can have a Governor General basically remove the government when they want and install puppets, that's what the Democrat Party's done, and that's what the Republicans are now doing. And so this is a very, very dangerous situation we're in.
Okay, so I understand what you were saying with Bernie. Who are the Republicans in the bag for this time around? Are you saying that Donald Trump is the person that they're basically saying, hey, just bypass the primaries, or are they going for somebody else that was on the panel tonight of candidates that were debating?
There are different factions, Gerald. You're as smart as I am or smarter. And early on, they wanted DeSantis. DeSantis was very popular.
Yeah.
And he was ahead of Trump. As soon as they indicted Trump, he went from neck and neck with DeSantis, where Trump was getting 30%, DeSantis was getting 30% in polls, and all the other candidates were getting, the other 30-something percent. And as soon as they indicted him, he went up 10 points. And each indictment, he goes up 5-10 points, where he's now 55, 60 points ahead of them in the entire field. He's 10 to 20 points in skewed polls that oversample Democrats. And so it's just like Hillary. The memos have come out, the emails have come out. She told Fox, CNN, all of them, through the CFR, she said, I believe Trump's the easiest to beat in the general election. I want you to give him all the coverage and not the other people. And then it backfired on her. Or you can say there's some sick thing behind the scenes.
And by the
but no,
way, and
the hate's real.
just starting today, she's been saying, hey, by the way, Putin's going to meddle in the election again, right? So that's why, again, keep in mind, YouTube said you're allowed to actually question election integrity now because they're bringing out the same old tired trope. Hillary Clinton said, I believe that Putin's going to meddle in the next election. Because remember, the election wasn't fair and legitimate. That was a 2016 talking point from Hillary Clinton. So she's done an about face.
Well, that's right. It's deja vu. It's the same thing where Biden says in a bunch of speeches, when I win the election, immediately surge the border. We're going to open it up for everybody. And then now in New York and Chicago and San Francisco, people are going, we got hundreds of thousands of people sleeping on the street. Crime has exploded. We don't have money to pay for this. And suddenly they're like, oh, no. You know, the New York governor says, don't come here. We don't want you. When a year ago she was saying, come here. We want you. So they think we have amnesia. And Stephen, that's a great parallel that you just brought up of how they think that we don't have memories. And I'm sorry, most of the public does not have memories. They do for baseball or football, but they don't when it comes to this bait and switch they do over and over again. And that's really the problem.
I think Nick had a question for you. His hand was twitching like he has
Alex,
Parkinson's.
what's the alternative? I know you say it's dangerous if the Republicans start pulling the same shenanigans as the Democrats are doing as far as super delegates. What's the alternative to watch them steal another election? If one team's playing, not playing by the rules, don't you have to not play to
Well,
have
I think
a chance
he's talking
to
about
win?
the Republicans trying to rig the primaries more so.
Okay.
I think the broader point's still something to answer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I think what he's saying is true. I think I was going to make that point. This climate of open fraud, this climate of all these dead people voting, this climate of hundreds of millions of dollars. What was the last number? It was something just astronomical that Zuckerberg spent getting all the names of dead people and people that have moved out of districts to do that. So, yeah, when you're dealing with a tyranny, that's what Trump's doing.
Right.
When you're dealing with a tyranny, you tend to, like we were fighting the Soviet Union, we set up a system to counter them, but we lost a lot of freedom. So you're actually right that my instinct is I don't want to lose. When I'm getting my ass kicked, I'll start cheating. The thing is, conservatives and Christians and populists, we don't even know how to do it. Like I've even sat there and thought as a war game, not that I'm going to do it, but I've thought about it. Well, if we start going out and getting violent with it, is that going to work? And then I think through it. No, that's not going to work. Okay, well, do we get dead people to vote? Well, we don't have billionaires spending $400 million or whatever for us to do that. To get dead people's names. We just don't have it built into our DNA. And so what they can't beat, here's a perfect example. They have these, quote, scientific polls by ABC, NBC, Mason-Dixon, all of them, Washington Post, where they put in 10 to 15% more Democrats. And they just say, we believe there's more Democrats baked into it. And then they know key demographics, key phone numbers they call, key people that have already been polled before. They know by who they're reaching out to what they're going to get. They got 20 points for 35 and under, 15 points that Trump's up. So Trump's 20 points ahead in under 35. He's 15 points in a bunch of other demographics and 10% overall in that poll. And the other skewed polls that they call scientific show that. So that means he's 30 points ahead.
Yeah, right.
And
exactly.
so it's the same thing with
good point
with a massive election. They've only got so many dead people. If you watch Texas 2 years ago or 4 years ago or Florida, it's that same graph where Trump goes up, Republicans go up. It's an organic curve. And then as soon as the polls close, boom, they pop up above. Well, they tried that in Texas and Florida and a bunch of other states they wanted to take. They're like, oh, they're going to go blue. But they ran out of dead people and people that had moved out of the district that didn't know, hey, you may live in another state for 10 years. You're still voting in Kentucky. And so you see them run out of bullets and the Democrats just stop. And so if we have a giant landslide, just like if we have a giant landslide in a poll, they can't fix it because they're just putting fake data in to buffer it. But if you go above 10, 20, 30 points with a massive landslide, you can't hide that.
That's a very important point, Alex, because the reason I want to focus on this is because you have some people out there, and I see this a lot, by the way, in the Republican groundswell, the conservative groundswell, saying, why vote anyway? It's rigged. They're going to find the votes. There is a way for this to be so insurmountable, and we are within that margin. We're not within the margin of victory. Again, the WAPO ABC poll has Donald Trump ahead 10 points. They had Biden ahead, I believe it was 17. We had those sources earlier. That's a very, very left-leaning
total spread.
A 27-point
right? So
total
it was
spread.
In 2019
so
at this time.
the point here isn't that you need a margin of victory for swing states. It's we can have a margin of victory so large that they can't overcome that with these shenanigans. And I think it's important for you to say what you're saying, because that's galvanizing as opposed to defeating. Because, you know, there are a lot of people out there on the airwaves who tell people, who deliver a message that makes it sound like, well, you might as well not go out and vote.
All hope is lost.
Right. And what you're saying is correct. And I want you to continue, Alex, but
let me use a fight analogy. Okay. Let me use a fight analogy. Let's say you weigh 200 pounds. You're pretty tough. You've been in a few fights. You're not looking for trouble. And you're 30 years old, and you got, your 8-year-old daughter playing at the park. And some gang member walks over while you're at your car making a call and punches your 8-year-old daughter in the face and knocks her teeth out. I don't care if the guy weighs 100 pounds more than you and is an ex-convict who's killed people. You're going to beat his ass. And what I'm saying politically is they may outweigh us by 100 pounds. They just knocked our kids' teeth out. We've got to vote. We've got to rally. We've got to be aggressive. We got to be out there, and we got to fly Republican Americana flags everywhere, where if they steal it again, it's even more obvious. Because if you give up and say, oh, it doesn't count, you're screwed. The top scientists, top people that study this, like Professor Epstein, not Jeffrey Epstein, and others have done the numbers. And they've only got, with dead people and people that moved out of district, maybe 15 points they can swing. We give Trump or any other Republican 15, 20 points over the top, they cannot beat that, and that's why they're crapping their pants. They're not doing it with machines. That's all a red herring. They're doing it with dead people and mail-in ballots and people voting in other people's names that are outside the district. That's how they're stealing the election.
Absolutely. And Dr. Robert Epstein, we actually interviewed him, and we're going to be able to air that probably within the next week or so. I know you've been talking to him. He's somebody who's on the forefront of that, with Google swaying the elections, essentially, and the numbers are staggering. And you're right. The only way that we can combat this right now is shine a light on Google and make sure that they can't do the things they were doing. They've done that, and they did it in the 2020 runoff, the Senate runoff election they had in Georgia.
And Congress is starting to get on their ass. And look, Congress knew nothing. I was at congressional hearings, Gerald, 5 years ago, where Sundar Pichai, the head of Google, was still lying to them that Google tracks phones. It's on the damn app. It's the basis of it, okay? And so they knew nothing. They were like Helen Keller, deaf, dumb, and blind 5 years ago. They now know the CIA is involved. Oh, there's think tanks. Oh, there's censoring. So their education curve is going straight up. So we have to play catch up, folks. But here's the deal. We were like nowhere 5-10 years ago. Our curve's going like this. Their curve's going like that. And that's, sorry to interrupt, Joel, go back to you, but that's why Clapper and all of them came out and said, Trump's going to kill us. He's going to arrest us this week. He's going to win. We're all screwed. They're the ones trying to arrest us. My reporter, my anchor goes to jail on the 24th for months for peacefully being at the Capitol. So they're hitting the panic button. We've made them take the mask off. And so it looks scary as hell. Believe me, we're all in the crosshairs. But folks, we're winning. I'm not going to lie to listeners. We are starting to beat the shit out of these people.
I love it. Look, Alex, hey, we'll hang out with us for just a couple of minutes.
Gerald, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. Hang out with us for just a couple of minutes, really quickly. Nick,
I'll stay the whole time. I've been sitting there for 3 hours.
You were a little hungry. I love you, man. I love you. I want to hear what you have to think about the debate. Give me one more minute, Nick. You're a little hungry. I saw that earlier. Yeah. I think we actually had some of that pudding maybe out at the main table. Did we have that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, we did.
Hoodie, what are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm trying the new pudding from my Patriot supply. I gotta admit, it's okay. It's not great.
Dude, you're not supposed to do it like that. You gotta put water in it, man. How much have you eaten?
All of them.
Oh my gosh, here, try that. That's better. Come on, some instructions.
Oh, that's much better.
Of course it's much better, man. You know you're gonna have to buy some to replace that, right?
Right, I'll just go to prepwithcrowder.com and get a 3-month supply.
Perfect. You're probably gonna have to do that twice. Yakuza, what in the world are you doing down here? Are you serious right now?
Pancakes?
No, I'm fine, thank you. Where's a gag reflex when you need it? All right. All right, so prepwithcrowder.com, you get a 25% off a 3-month membership. There we go. Perfect.
No, 3 month supply, yeah.
3-month supply, not membership.
And by the way, their stuff is great. They have actually sent us more oatmeal and pudding. Their pudding is legitimately better than the Jell-O
Just add
that you get.
Water.
Yeah, you need to add water.
Some of those powdered
Prep with Crowder.
Prepwithcrowder.com.
Wait, let me say something about this, because they've been my sponsor for 15 years. No, I'm serious.
No, I like it.
I go out and I get the best companies to be our sponsors. And this stuff is better than what's sold in grocery stores for a third of the price. They started out 16 years ago. They've been the biggest company for 10 years because of their quality, because of the huge variety they've got. If you're getting storable food, your sponsor is the way to go, folks. You're insane in this climate, in this world, if you don't go there and use that promo code right now.
Well, thank you very much. This man's a pro. Hey, can you bring up the URL for people to sign up to for Mug Club through Alex? Is it JonesCrowder.com?
Yeah, I got it.
JonesCrowder.com.
JonesCrowder.com.
Hey, Alex, I got to interrupt everybody here. This is pretty interesting news, unrelated to tonight. We'll get to the wrap-up of the debate really quickly, but bring that up. So apparently the Arizona State Treasurer has just gotten notice that she is serving as the acting governor because I guess something has happened with Katie Hobbs where she is no longer the governor of Arizona.
What? Really?
This is. I said, is this real?
Do we know why?
They don't know why, but it's a Republican that's now in that,
Can Mission Control get us the reason why? I'm assuming election shenanigans, but that would probably be
it
too
says
good to be
the
true.
reason is unknown for this, but we will
Harold,
see.
this
They're
isn't
on
kind of big. This is seismic. Read it to us.
There's no reason given here, right?
Read it.
I'm going with
read it like a woman.
I'll read it like a woman. So this is the Arizona Treasurer Kimberly Yee statement on serving as acting governor, and to everything they've said that this is real. If this is like some kind of fake, sorry, but I think it's real. It says, I have been notified that I'll be serving as acting governor beginning later this evening until mid-morning tomorrow. While I'm pleased to step... Just until mid-morning tomorrow, guys?
Yeah, just till tomorrow.
Come on!
Will she have to take a potty break?
No, she's probably...
First freaking paragraph
They do that when you go on to anesthesia, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Could it just be that?
Maybe she's passed out.
Is it a heavy flow month?
I really don't know.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe she had a stroke or something, took too many shots.
I have no idea.
Maybe she was playing tonight's drinking game.
But she's actually stepped down at least for the time being, or maybe there's a transfer of power. I don't understand
something to do with a fight with a hammer.
Well, for
and
this
Paul
to be
Pelosi.
out there publicly, though, that's not typical. That's not typical for this to be that public.
For a little bit, at least, they say, "Is this real?" That's my.
All right.
And again, she's the one just declared this gun emergency, which I'm really worried that they might. Again, I'm not saying Putin's perfect. I'm not a fan of Russia. But, I mean, you sit there and you hear Scott and others up there literally saying we got to fight the Russians over there so we don't fight them over here. I'm sorry, folks. Soros and the globalists overthrew the Ukrainian government 9 years ago. They've been starting this fight. Russia started in Ukraine with Slavov the Great. His name was Slav. That's why they call them all Slavs. And the West started this, told us we were going to win. The West is losing. It's escalating to nuclear war. Now we're sending them F-16s, Abrams tanks. That's World War III, as Biden said. Blowing up Nord Stream Pipeline 2 and giving them, all these weapons. This is insane while our country falls apart. So I'm with RFK Jr. I'm with Trump. Listen, the U.S. is running this war. NATO's run by the U.S., the people that run our country that have hijacked it. And I just want it to stop. I want it to stop. Putin said, if you try to bring them into NATO, I'm going to invade. They said, we're not going to do that. Now Stoltenberg said 4 days ago, head of NATO, yes, our plan was to bring them into NATO, and we got the Russians to invade, and now that's expanded NATO, so Russia's our bitch. Well, yeah, they manipulated them into this. So Russia isn't trying to cut my son's penis off. Russia isn't trying to open my borders and flood us like they've done. Russia isn't devaluing my currency. Russia isn't doing all this crap. Russia isn't trying to say the Republican Party is going to be outlawed like the Democrats. So I'm sorry. I'd love to be a Russophobe, but the Chi-Coms are up our butt. The Chi-Coms are funding thousands of public schools. The Chi-Coms control hundreds of universities. The Chi-Coms own 4 of the 6 Hollywood. They're buying farmland everywhere. The Chi-Coms are up our ass, and the globalists are allied with them. But Russia can't even run their own country. Russia is a mess. So that's why the globalists are doing this, because they're right. The Russians have not won this quickly. The Russians have lost hundreds of thousands of troops, but they got nuclear weapons, and they got submarines in the Gulf of Mexico aiming at Austin and Dallas, Texas, where our children live, and aiming at the East Coast and West Coast. And they've got 24 missiles per submarine of cruise missiles that are fired from 20 miles off the shore and hit us in 3 minutes, Mach 10. Cannot be stopped. We need to not have nuclear war.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and we'll probably have you on here next week to discuss that more, because that's something that's been really convoluted. But before we go to Mug Club exclusive, let us know your specific thoughts tonight on the debate, who you thought the biggest winner was. Mike Pence is on right now with Sean Hannity.
I've been sitting there 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mike Pence is right on. He's on with Hannity right now,
We're
right
going
on
to keep
schedule.
you in the Mug Club if you want
We're
to
going to
stay
keep you in
around.
Mug Club, but
so,
if you were to say the biggest winners and losers tonight with the debate, aside from the media being the biggest loser.
yeah.
Obviously, Vivek Ramaswamy is like some AI bot that just says all the perfect things. I don't trust him because I don't know him, but I would like to. I think they all ganged up on him, as you said, Stephen, and as your crew said, because they're scared of him and they said go after him. I think Pence, like you said, is like you pull a string, it just says things, platitudes. I liked a lot of what Scott said about bringing America together, but I didn't like his World War III stuff.
Exactly.
I thought that Noam did pretty good. The guy that nobody knows, I didn't even know who he was. Yeah, he's pretty smart.
Burgum.
But again, none of them, it's good to cover it because it's new ideas, but because they indicted Trump, Trump's got 55-60% of the field unless he dies of a stroke next week or something. It really is just academic. I mean, I was listening, but who do you guys think is the clear winner in this?
I don't think there was any clear winner. What I do think is that DeSantis, unfortunately, has put himself on a one track now, right? Mm-hmm. He has to be at war with Donald Trump. He was the one who decided to kind of draw that. I don't want to say draw first blood because Trump has been attacking him, and I think that it's warranted.
Sanctimonious.
But he definitely, I think, made a mistake tonight if he doesn't want to be in the mode of DeSantis versus Trump. So that'll be interesting to see the fallout from that. Outside of that, I think that Tim Scott showed himself a little bit more. Like you said, I don't like his answers on the on Ukraine, that whole situation with the Ukraine and Russia. I keep wanting to say the Ukraine-Russia, but then people say it's not the Ukraine, it's just Ukraine.
I
get it. Okay,
either.
geopolitics. Outside of that, Chris Christie was obviously very hungry. He makes good cookies. Noam really should take a Yes, exactly. I think the important point here, too, to note is, look, the media is not your friend. The people out there watching the media right now, they are not your friend, especially if you look at Fox News.
Oh yeah, what about that woman moderator? It was like we had the Communist Party or NPR up there. Record attacks on LGBT, record white supremacists. Yeah. No, those are made up statistics. Yeah. Attacks on LGBT and black people are almost non-existent. That's the real numbers.
Yeah, no, exactly. And by the way, when they talk about these people who come from other countries, and I don't necessarily know where I would assume that it's somewhat Hispanic. Let's talk about their record.
She's a weather woman in Telemundo.
Yes, exactly. With LGBTQ. Let's talk about the record of anywhere else with LGBTQ. Let's talk about the record anywhere else with diversity. They always want to condemn America for not living up to the perfect standard. It's like watching someone do a high jump and saying, you missed your perfect Fosbury flop there. You didn't clear that bar. Meanwhile, they're not even trying. That's why they always try and point to the United States.
Well, that's right. The left never criticizes China. If men kiss in public, you get 3 years in a labor camp. Okay?
Right.
Oh.
Now, okay, so if you're a Muslim, you get sent to a Uyghur concentration camp. So I'm sick of being lectured when I'm not doing anything to gay people or anybody else. Perfect how we're all being called Nazis constantly. And a real Nazi, they're hard to find, 98 years old from the SS, who was in a unit that actually killed Jews in mass in famous massacres, is being saluted. And then Trudeau came out 2 days ago and said, it's Russian propaganda. No, it's not Russian propaganda. They're so crazy. They had 336 members of the Canadian Parliament, and not one of them during this giant speech and standing ovation. He fought the Russians in World War II. What idiot doesn't know who fought the Russians? I mean, it is like Polish. Asinine.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely. I thought that too. The Nazis. I thought Christopher Plummer killed off the rest of them a long time ago.
I thought so too.
But we are going to continue. I guess obviously, of course, on MugClub, louderwithcreditor.com/. If you're watching right now on Rumble, you click that button right there.
Do it,
and you get to continue watching on.
Hey, can I say something about Rumble? Because I heard you say this, but I want to be clear to viewers. I got super excited months ago when we launched this thing together, and as soon as I got ready to do it the next few months, you didn't even ask me to do this. 4th hour of my show is going to go subscription on Rumble through jonescrowder.com. It's going to be massive. With the training wheels were just this weekly show, and it's a great show. Some have been amazing, some have been okay. We're really enjoying doing it. But ladies and gentlemen, my home studio is basically set up as I hit a second wind at night. I'm going to be exclusively on Rumble behind the paywall because people want it. It'll be commercial free. I can have special guests, say whatever I want. But look at the UK Parliament. Look at the EU. Look at how Rumble said, hey, we got letters saying take off Russell Brand. The fight is there. Rumble is what Elon Musk wishes he was, as Stephen, when he got me to come over months ago, pointed out. So if we don't back Rumble, and if we don't back their hosts, and if we don't support their sponsors, I know there's a lot of big fish out there watching. You should advertise your furniture company. You should advertise your tech company. You should belly up to the bar. You should get on home plate. You should get up to bat, and you should get involved, because there's no other thing that actually has the wherewithal and the infrastructure and the host. All the big top hosts are at Rumble. People, you want us to fight. You want us to engage. You want us to stand up. You want us to not back down. Okay, we won't give up. We won't submit. We won't sell out, but we could give out. Everybody should go to Rumble right now. Everybody should support Rumble, because they're doing what nobody else is doing, and that's why Steven Crowder's there. That's why the rest of his great hosts are there. That's why I'm there. So if you want to win, folks, get busy promoting Rumble and Steven Crowder, and get busy over at MugClub to build this infrastructure.
God, I really appreciate that. That's why Alex Jones is Alex Jones. And if you, unless you're a furniture company and you're Swedish, because I don't need another ottoman that folds into a bookcase. Right now, click that button. We thank you, Rumble. We're going to continue with Alex Jones's wrap-up of the debate. YouTube, piss off.